All right. We tried and we failed. That's all right. That is all right. Let me get Instagram set up here. I had a feeling, but we do what we can do, right? We do what we can do. New stream, new dream. There we go. Hold on here. Let me get everything good to go, ready to go. Hold on, sorry guys. Sorry. We tried, right? We had to try. We would be losers if we didn't try. But we tried, and now we are good. So instead, what is this? Make super chat more fun with a goal. Okay, we could do that. What it up? Let's do 10 super chats. For 1 hour. Morty will get peanut butter. This is new. All right, let's try that. So we got a new goal started. Let me know how that looks on your end. We got King Nirvana. Welcome to the party. All right, and yeah, I had a feeling that was gonna happen. But what are you gonna do? Share screen. Ay. Yeah, we tried. But we will. So definitely, we're gonna do that on our own. We could watch that in yeah. Well, we could watch it tomorrow in Discord. Just obviously not on YouTube. Oh, I forgot I watched all this shit. Let's go here, and where was it? But yeah, so JD Vance was on with Tim Dillon. And again, we're going in blind. Okay. We're going in blind. I have only seen clips. But
it's good to have you here.
We will see what is good with Tim Dillon and our next VP, JD Vance. All right. Yeah, I mean, I straight up was streaming a movie. So, it is what it is. Actually, I should go delete that now. Make sure they don't have whatever. All right, let's dive in here. Thank you for joining us here, guys. Again, if you liked the video before, it is a new video. We need a new like. So let's dive right in here. And of course, there's no goddamn caption.
You wrote a book. I pretended to. You're running for vice president. I have a podcast. So, but no, thank you so much. I appreciate it. How has it been running at the pace you're running, introducing yourself to the public? Yeah. How has that felt with a family and a life?
Sure. Well, yeah. Thank you for doing this. First of all, I know it was tough to rearrange your schedule, and I appreciate it.
It wasn't that tough.
It's honestly just the craziest experience of my life, right? Because I ran for Senate once before in my life a couple years ago. We won, obviously, or I wouldn't be here. You drive around the state of Ohio in like the back of a used Subaru because that's what your staff is driving, and you just it's like really cool because you see the whole state.
Right.
This thing, you see the whole country.
Right.
And like we had some of my closest buddies from high school join us on the campaign trail a couple of days ago. And we go to Dallas, we go to Arizona, we go to Nevada, we go back to Washington, we go back to Ohio, like in 2.5 days, we're in all these places. So it's just really cool to see the country. I mean, obviously, like in some ways it's exhausting, but in other ways it's like the most energizing thing that you're doing, because I'm one of these people, I like feed off the crowd and I feed off the people that I meet. And so, the energy level is off the charts right now, which is one of the reasons why I think that we're going to win. And so you don't sleep as much maybe as I'd like to, but then on the other hand, you're just like so...
I'm fucking bummed out, dude. I'm fucking bummed out, man. That was going to be fun. That was going to be good. We're still going to watch it, so don't worry. And this is still important, so let's just, recalibrate and, do what we got to do.
You don't sleep as much maybe as I'd like to, but then on the other hand, you're just like so high on adrenaline that I feel like I could do this for a lot longer.
Right.
The good thing, so we have 3 little kids, right? We have a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And we've been able with a lot of family help to just make this kind of a family affair. Yeah. So for Trump's big rally in Madison Square Garden in a couple days, my cousin is going to fly up with our kids, and then me and my wife are going to go up. And so we'll hang out in New York together, but then also do this rally at Madison Square Garden. Yeah. My son, he's 7, he's the oldest. And it's very funny because he's like really into Trump, even though he's never met him.
Right.
And so he's like, when am I going to meet President Trump? And the answer is at this rally at Madison Square Garden. But
No,
you know Don Jr. at all?
We chat on Instagram.
Yeah, okay.
For sure.
Don's a really good dude. He's one of my closest friends in politics. Well, he met my son at an event in Charlotte a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And Don was like, you know, hey, who do you think's better looking, me or my dad? And my son just like deadpans, definitely the real Donald Trump. So I call President Trump and I tell him that, and he's like, "That's good to hear."
Yeah,
That's good to hear.
Your son's now in the cabinet.
Yeah,
He's being vetted for the Secretary of State.
Exactly.
And that's all it takes, right? Just say something nice about Trump, and you're in there.
So you're traveling around the country, and I'm sure you're meeting a lot of people.
Yeah.
What about it? Has any perception that you had changed when you were out there? Because as a comedian, I've gone around the country, not as much, but a good amount. And you see things and you do have a little paradigm shift. And you go 20 or 30 minutes out of any major city, you do see more poverty than you would think.
Yep.
You do see areas that have been kind of abandoned or forgotten. In many of our cities, you see drug addiction, a lot of homelessness, a lot of kind of vacant spaces in the downtown area. You don't feel great about it. And then there are areas that are beautiful, and there are areas where you could see people are trying to hold on and conserve the community that they have. But there's a lot of areas that, you know, you see that are struggling. And
of course.
Yeah. I mean, like, you win some, you lose some. But we truck on.
Is that more evident when you're traveling around?
Welcome.
I think it is because you talk to people a lot more.
And again, we will watch that. If you're not in Discord, join Discord, because that's where we're going to be able to watch that without any issues. But no YouTube.
Or I mean, one of the paradigm shifts that I've had is, you know, 4 months ago, I'd been a senator for 2 years. I was like very frustrated with the policies of Kamala Harris and of Joe Biden, right? I'm sort of pissed off about that. Well, the thing that I think that sometimes leads into is you kind of get this tunnel vision about like policy and not about the people who are actually affected by it.
Right.
And it also, I think, honestly, being out there has made me more fundamentally optimistic about our country, right? Because you're right, there is a lot of poverty and there's a lot of problems in our cities, and I'll talk about that in a second. But like,
that makes sense. You know, just being in the, the fray of all the problems, what all the problems are. I bet it would be very easy to get lost in the problems and actually forget about why you're trying to solve the problems in the first place.
You also, you know, I met this woman really affected me about a month or so ago. And usually what we'll do is we'll do these rallies, but then we'll like, you know, do photos with volunteers and just people who are helping out the campaign in some form or another before we do these rallies. And this woman comes up to me and she's like, I can't afford groceries. You know, I've been like working my whole life. Things are really tough. She tells me that for like 20, 30 seconds. And then she spends 3 minutes talking about how she says a prayer every single night for me, my wife, and our 3 kids by name. She's memorized the names of my children, a guy she's never met, so that she can pray for their safety. And you're like, okay, there's a generosity of spirit out there that, yeah, we can be pissed off about the policies of Kamala Harris, and we should be, frankly, because she's a disaster. But we can also be, I think, more hopeful about the country. And that's like a paradigm shift that I've had. And the second thing that I realized is you talk about cities, right? So obviously you're usually flying into a city, even if you're not.
Has that woman who can't afford the groceries seen any of the dancing at the rallies? Because to be honest, it is not nothing, the dancing that's going on. There is a lot of good dancing. And if she were to perhaps see that, she could stop kind of being ungrateful and kind of.
Yeah, you know, I
this is why it's so important for these politicians to do these podcasts, because like we saw with Trump and on Rogan, it brings them outside of that very narrow context of here's what I need to tell you. I need to tell you this right now. Make sure you vote for me. No, the other person's bad. Vote for me. Make sure, and it just gives them a chance to breathe and act like human beings. Now, that being said, I'm sure if you put some of the reptiles in that seat, they are not going to look normal at all. But that is exactly why we want them there.
I don't think this.
Or heard about Tim Walz's time in China. That's interesting. That he's in China. That's good.
I don't know that Kamala Harris dancing at the rallies. It makes this woman feel better about not being able to afford groceries.
Not quite.
And
not quite.
There is just the thing that's different about the Trump rallies versus the Kamala Harris rallies is the fake joy. of the Kamala Harris rallies versus like we're actually having fun. I mean, people say like the media says, "Oh, these Trump rallies are so dark," and then you watch a Trump rally for 90 minutes, and 30 minutes of it. And this is the way in which running for vice president is kind of like being a stand-up comedian. 30 minutes is just being funny as hell because he has a great sense of humor, and you realize people actually are having a good time. Yeah, they're pissed off about the policies, of Kamala Harris, but they're actually really having fun, and we're having fun.
I think it just right now dawned on me what they mean when they say negative and dark and all this stuff about, them talking about, oh, the Democrats are going to do this and the liberals that and the woke media this. Like, yeah, but like that stuff isn't not happening. What do you mean?
When I watch her rallies, I'm a terrible actor. And I was just in one of the worst films ever made, Joker 2.
Well, that's a commonality of Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Actually.
Well, you see the people at
really bad at
her rallies, and they'll be kind of happy, and then the face drops. They go back to this immediately, and you go, oh yeah, something feels off. Something's not authentic about it.
Yeah. That's definitely true. I've tried to like put my finger on what it is about Kamala Harris's like the very fraudulent laugh that I find so off-putting.
Yeah.
I think, well, Tim talked about this, and I don't know if this is his or if he got it from someone else, but I think it is a gender thing. I think that with women, they can't be as strong-headed as men can be without looking, bossy and bitchy and whatever. I accept that that's a real double standard. So they try to overcompensate by being strong, but also being warm by laughing. And because they're not warm people, talking about Hillary and Kamala, it comes off as inauthentic.
And it's like the laugh of somebody who just made you really uncomfortable, but then tries to overcorrect by saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna laugh at it," and then that's somehow gonna make it better that I just like stepped on your foot or like ran into your car, right? That's like the laugh of the Kamala Harris. It's like the person
bankrupted the country,
or bankrupted the country. All shapes and sizes of problems.
Open the border and flood it.
It reminds me like I
destroyed our
think I've
culture.
caused one car accident in my life. I was like 16, and it was late, it was dark, it was really like it had been raining, and so it was like a fender bender. Ran into this elderly couple, probably going 5 miles per hour.
Right.
And then I get out of the car and I'm like, ha ha ha, like trying, oh, it's okay, guys, we're all fine.
What the fuck are you
Kamala Harris laugh.
To me,
Spot on. The I just hit you in a fender bender laugh.
Somebody who just ran into your car and is trying to make it.
No, it's also when a reporter asks her a question, it's a substitute teacher giving you homework. And the class is going, we don't want this.
Oh, no.
Why are you doing it? You don't want to do it. We don't want you to do it.
That's exactly right.
Play the video. Let's not do it.
That's right. Let's just watch Where the Red Fern Grows rather than read the book.
Kamala for 4 years.
And said Candace Owens has a journalist on her show talking about Kamala's mother working the MK Ultra program. Surprised? Me neither.
She was not a vocal vice president.
That's right.
We barely heard from Biden. We didn't really hear from Kamala. Biden had a very tough debate performance. He was replaced in a way that's I liken it to somebody knocking on his door.
A threat to democracy,
right?
Maybe just to throw
2 a.m. They knock on his door and he has a sleeping cap on and he opens it with a candle and it's Pelosi and Obama. I think this is what I imagine happens. And
you imagine that they involved him in that decision? Oh, no. I assume that they just paid some staffer to be like, hey, put this out. Because once it's out there, it's out there.
Opens it up, and then they go, you're out, and she'll invoke the 25th, and then Kamala's right behind him, laughing.
Laughing
Joker,
just like
and now
that.
she's the nominee.
That's basically how I imagine it too.
That's the long and short of it.
Yeah.
It's man, I honestly think Biden is pissed off about it.
He seems
like
angry.
there are all of these weird little ways where he helps us. He wears a Trump hat at the firefighter event.
Saying, oh yeah, she was right next to me. She's the first one in the room, the last one to leave. Every major decision, she's been right there.
He does this thing where, a couple weeks ago, she was starting one of her big rallies, and he decides to have a press conference 30 seconds into it, right? So they're all watching Joe Biden and not Kamala Harris, or he'll say something nice here and there about Donald Trump.
Yeah,
it would not shock me if Joe Biden votes for Donald Trump.
I like that he's he's ornery.
I do too.
And he's showing his teeth a little bit, and he's having fun.
Yeah, well,
because he's not running anymore, and he's an older guy, but he's having fun. He's putting on the Trump hat.
Yeah, well, if he still had that in him, maybe if he showed a little bit more of that over the last 4 years, then he might not have been in the same position that he is. Now, maybe it's like this movie I just watched where it's like a thriller movie and the guy uses some type of needle. It's like, oh, well, in 20 minutes, you're going to be paralyzed for an hour straight. And as it's coming back, she's like, you might get little bursts of energy, but you're not going to be able to defeat me, kind of thing. So maybe he gets little bursts of energy. But yeah, if he could have been this Biden the whole time and against, our enemies instead of against, us, that would have been better. Just my opinion.
He's getting in little fights with people at the rallies.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
Yeah.
President Trump said at the Al Smith dinner,
Yeah.
he was like, when I was running against this guy, I really hated him.
Yeah.
Now I kind of like him.
No,
and
yeah,
I kind of feel like
he's
that
fine.
about Biden because, the policies have been disastrous, but he has these flashes of honesty about Kamala Harris. And man, okay, you talked about
Yikes. Shout out to Balance Shares. Welcome to the party. Good to see you. And yeah, shout out to Candace and Judge Joe Brown. He dogged that woman. He dogged her.
Go back to something. You talked about Kamala Harris as like getting an assignment from the media from school.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of weird high school vibes running through the Kamala Harris campaign, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest one is, did you see this rally that she did with Liz Cheney a couple of days ago, right?
No, but I love Dick Cheney and the whole Cheney family. And to me, when I think about democracy, I personally think about Dick Cheney. He's a figure from my childhood that I love and respect. Some of the greatest years of my life, Iraq, Abu Ghraib, Dick Cheney. Shout out to Dick Cheney and Liz.
If you really care about human rights and democracy, Dick Cheney,
nobody better.
Guy, definitely.
Guy.
So they do this event with Liz. Yeah, I thought maybe you were saying that because you didn't want to get have a drone land on your house, but all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're doing this event, and Kamala Harris like gives the affect of a vice president who's just called like the troublesome kid into her office, right? It's like, you shouldn't be laughing at Donald Trump.
Right.
You shouldn't think that he's funny. Yeah. And man, the joy is gone when you have somebody wagging their finger at the American people, telling them not to laugh when somebody makes a joke. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Their whole campaign, man, has become so dull and so boring. But I think it's because of what you said. They're not having fun anymore.
Right, but it's a lot of people.
All right, so since we have somebody who is not quite aware, just a little sneak peek of what we're talking about here. Where am I?
Barack Obama lived for like 8 to 10 years.
Wait, this one? No, this one. This is the one I want. Where'd it go? There we go.
So there was a Marxist thing up there. Also, this was during the rise of Jim Jones, which is another thing. Jim Jones, the Kool-Aid and the picnic. Kamala's sponsor, Willie Brown, Maxine Waters, and some other people Nancy Pelosi were staunch supporters of Jim Jones. Interesting. Yes, you need to look into that. You'll find some very interesting things like, hey, this was your mentor.
Oh, this wasn't the clip I was looking for, but yeah, she did a whole sit down. Very, very interesting. All right.
And so boring, but I think it's because of what you said. They're not having fun anymore.
Right, but it's a lot of people are warning that this will be the final election and there will be no more democracy. If you and Trump are elected, there'll be no more democracy. It'll be the final election. And these are good people. This is Goldman Sachs. This is the Cheney family. This is, a lot of defense contractors. So
the people with the best interests of the American people at heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the people who really keep the American social fabric.
How do you respond to that when, when you have a multi-ethnic family and they go, you and Donald Trump are racist and hate different kinds of people because you've criticized having an open border?
Yeah.
Well, your mistake is trying to take that on the logical merits. There are none. That doesn't mean that they're not going to say it.
I mean, I can't help but roll my eyes at it at this point. And there was probably a time, honestly, 6-7 years ago where I really cared. When my book came out, I really cared what the media said about me. I just don't care anymore because they're so obviously full of shit. Right? Actually, if you look, even just you talk to like working and middle class Latino voters, they hate the open border even more than like my family from rural Ohio and Kentucky because they don't like having their wages undercut. When the cartels are doing business in their communities, it's the Latinos that are actually the most pissed off about it. So I just kind of roll my eyes at it. I think that you have to have a certain sense of humor about American politics, and it's easy to do when you're running against Kamala Harris
with this fucking clown show,
and you're running with Donald Trump. Because as much as he obviously, look, I think they've done more to him than any presidential candidate in my lifetime. He still actually has an amazing sense of humor about the whole thing. And oftentimes, like, I call him obviously like every day at this point, talking about the campaign, but he always ends up cracking a joke. And I think it's in part because he knows like that's what's good for me in that moment is we got to laugh about some of this stuff or we're gonna go crazy.
There is now, we're in October, we've got about 2 weeks left. So now every single day there's some article coming out in a publication that Donald Trump said something Hitlerian or about Hitler or about like, So it does seem to me that
even Bill, no, I'm not getting another claim, but Megyn Kelly was on Bill Maher's show yesterday, and even Bill Maher, who is, still Bill Maher, TDS, but he's been, I'm going to talk against the left because I'm the cool one, okay? Bill Maher still was using Hitlerian rhetoric yesterday. Like, dude, what?
the hysteria is at a fever pitch.
It really is.
What do you think about John Kelly, who did come out and say
Insane.
Trump is a fascist and this is fascism and all of that?
Well, first of all, the amount of stock the media puts in a
Well, I didn't want to be on your team anyway.
disgruntled ex-employee. I mean, John Kelly was fired, right? And look, he served his country, but he was fired, and he's pissed off about Trump over that.
Right.
And if you talk to the people who were in the room when Trump allegedly said these things that he said, even like Mike Pence's former chief of staff are saying it's totally made up, it's a total lie. But here's the really interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
3-4 years ago, the media were all calling John Kelly an evil racist for helping to promote Donald Trump's border policies.
Right.
And now it shows how thin this is, right?
Yeah.
Like Dick Cheney, who I legitimately think
Yeah.
is the single worst vice president easily of my lifetime.
Right.
Worse than Kamala Harris?
But effective.
But well,
Yeah, no, I mean, in his
effective
way.
at like destroying the country.
Fucking cootie queen.
Well, that's
right?
what
I mean, you know,
yes.
and
That's what I meant.
and maybe that's why he's endorsing Kamala Harris. It's
Right.
like, oh, finally somebody's come along who's been even worse than I have.
Yeah.
is Kamala Harris. But the fact that the media now pretends that he's like some hero of human rights, the guy was a disaster.
Right.
I mean, we invaded Iraq, we invaded, the 20-year quagmire in Afghanistan. All of these Americans who lost their lives, who lost their limbs, that was because of very stupid leadership. And now we're going to forget about it because the media hates Donald Trump.
I'm not.
It's the most insane thing I've seen in politics. And threat to democracy. I figured out what a threat to democracy is when the American people vote for somebody the media doesn't like. Right. And that.
Yeah, but as we've been saying, when they say it's a threat to our democracy, what they mean is our democracy, you guys not included. So they mean their democracy, their quote unquote democracy, their mob rule. When anything else that comes in, yes, that is a threat to their democracy, but not the American project, the American Democratic Republic. That's not what they mean. That's not what they say, because that's not what they mean. Vance said something was in the vax. I'm convinced of it. Maybe. It's not in me. I wouldn't know. Shout out to the pure bloods. Dilly.
That's not definitionally, that's not a threat to democracy. That's a fulfillment of democracy, that even though the media lies hysterically about Trump, the American people still want to be able to afford groceries and housing.
The worldview, whether we call it Cold War liberalism or however we want to frame the worldview, that America is an empire and must continue to be one at all costs, with running up trillions of dollars worth of debt, getting involved in foreign conflicts anywhere from the Ukraine or the Middle East. There are people now saying we need to invade Iran. And that if America steps back on the world stage, that it's a power vacuum that's going to be filled by China, by Russia, and that America should continue to pay for the defense of all of these European countries, and that America should kind of, shoulder that burden. And my generation, we saw Iraq, we saw Afghanistan. We've also seen, lots of our friends go away to fight those wars and come back and not have mental health care and not have support from the government. We don't feel safer because we invaded Iraq. We don't feel safer.
Definitely.
We spent 20 years in Afghanistan. I don't know what we spent 20 years doing, but all the people, the 10 richest counties in America are in Virginia. And there's something interesting about that fact, that all of those people are dependent upon America constantly having enemies.
And not like Virginia coal country, right?
No.
The collar counties around DC.
Yeah, around DC. And all of these people have an investment in the United States of America continually going to war. And those are the people who seem to be speaking out the loudest against your candidacy and Trump's candidacy.
Exactly.
It's almost like there's a complex, and it's like an industrial complex based around like the military, like a military industrial complex.
Because you threaten something, a power structure that has been in place for a very long time. This has been spoken about by the military-industrial complex. Eisenhower famously spoke about it. I believe it's FDR. Maybe it was TR. Somebody said a financial element in the government has owned it since the days of Andrew Jackson. Meaning there are agendas that other people have. Now, is that why we're seeing people like Dick Cheney and people like Kamala Harris, where you would think they don't have much in common on the same side? Is it because that positioning is so important and integral to the amount of money being made? And are you guys the greatest enemy of both of those factions of those parties?
Yeah, that's how I think about it. So I think there are three issues where for 40 years, Republicans and Democrats have basically fundamentally agreed. And I'll list them an issue of importance to that, call it the uniparty, call it the conventional wisdom.
War, globalism. And what's number 3? Definitely war and globalism.
One is foreign policy, that we should basically stick our nose in every foreign conflict. And that doesn't mean we should never get involved, of course. But by and large, most of the wars that we've fought over the last 40 years have been a total disaster for the American people. And frankly, for a lot of the countries we've been fighting. And so foreign policy is the first and most important issue to that consensus. The second most important issue is trade, right? Massive investment in what I would call shipping our industrial base to countries like China and Mexico, which has eviscerated the American middle class, but it's made a lot of bankers rich. And then the third thing is immigration.
But I want my cheap electronics.
Right? The idea that you should have effectively unlimited borders checked only by the political will, right? Every political party has tried to make it easier to bring more and more people into the United States of America.
We got the hungry dance. We got the hungry dance. Morty's getting hungry.
On immigration,
Come on,
trade,
guys.
and foreign
We gotta
policy,
feed
the American
the
people
dog.
have consistently been out of step with their leadership, and they keep on not actually having an alternative. Like, who has been the candidate of, free trade is not good for the American middle class? Who's been the candidate of we've got to check our immigration system? Who's been the candidate of stopping the stupid wars? Basically nobody in 40 years, with the lone exception of my running mate, right, of Donald J. Trump. Okay, so that's where we are, and you're right. That's why Kamala Harris and Dick Cheney, and that's why all these people hate him. I think it's interesting, Tim, to think about the motivations here, because 2 years ago, I would have said it's all financial, right? Dick Cheney, he's getting rich from these wars. Kamala Harris's donors are getting rich from these wars. And that's like the only reason why they're supporting them. For what it's worth, I do think there's an element of truth to that, right? Eisenhower warned about this. The military industrial complex has its own self-fulfilling momentum.
Right.
But I think there's a second thing that I picked up on. And, a lot of my Senate colleagues disagree with me on foreign policy. They're very good people. There's like this psychological post-World War II, you called it Cold War liberalism, where, these guys remember when America could do anything, right? We were like the agents of peace in some cases we weren't, but we could just fix the world purely through American will.
The American hubris. Interesting. We'll jump back into that, but shout out to our boy, Funk Master General, coming in hot with the $20. Thank you so very much. Of course, we gotta get Morty his food. Funkmaster said it doesn't matter what happens. In the end, they will all beg for mercy from the one true overlord. Look at him. Thank you so very, very much, sir. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, he knew you were coming. Thank you again, sir.
In some cases we weren't, but we could just fix the world purely through American will, right? And they grew up in that world. And they're having psychological difficulty accommodating to a world where China has gotten more powerful, in part because of their policies. Russia has gotten more powerful, in part because of their policies. And we can't just dictate everything. We can't tell everybody how to behave anymore, because sometimes what happens is we'll try to tell another country what to do, and they'll say this, right? And that's very, very hard for these guys to wake up to the reality that we're in. If we were in.
That makes so much sense. And I mean, again, obviously, if you had asked me, do you think that all these world leaders, or not even necessarily world leaders, but leaders of the war industry, do you think that they feel like they can just do whatever and there's no consequences? Of course, I would say yes. But to put it in this context as to why they are literally trying to send your sons and daughters to war. Wow. It is always about money. But I guess there is a little bit more. Guys, again, if you've not hit the like button, please do that for me. It would be very much appreciated.
It's very, very hard for these guys to wake up to the reality that we're in, if we were in what was called a unipolar world, right? America was the only superpower.
And we were for a while.
We were for a long time.
Yeah.
Now we're still the lone superpower, but other countries are catching up. And I think the way to preserve our own influence, but more importantly, to preserve the prosperity of our own people, is to recognize the reality that we're living in. A lot of people can't, they go back to, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, right? Ronald Reagan's big moment, or, George H.W. Bush. It was like a blip on the radar for us to completely crush Saddam Hussein and kick him out of Kuwait, right? They want to go back to the glory days when America could do everything and be all things. They got to wake up to the world of resource constraints. And frankly, the reason why we're not as powerful in relative terms as we were 30 years ago is because they screwed up, right? And that's where the trade and immigration issue comes back, is they want to pursue a foreign policy that was built on the back of smart trade and smart immigration policy. They hollowed out the American middle class. They destroyed the industrial base of our country. Crazy statistic.
Where do you think that you would have been able to hear him articulate that other than a podcast? Doesn't have to be this podcast. Doesn't have to be, the podcast. But I don't understand how this isn't, how everybody is not calling for it to be a mandatory thing that anything mayor or above, you need to do 3 hours uncut with one other person, if not the person you're running against, some third party or something. This is just so new in the context of politics. It's weird that it's that new.
China, we're still the biggest economy in the world. China is 32% of global manufacturing GDP, okay? We're 18% of global manufacturing GDP. So even though we're still by far the biggest economy in the world, China makes nearly twice as many manufactured goods as we do. That is the engine of real economic prosperity, is manufacturing. These guys want us to fight wars like it's 1954. It's not 1954, and thanks in large part to them.
How do you change that? How do you shift that? That's very difficult, right? Because you have a lot of unelected people. We have 19 intelligence agencies, I think. I think it's around.
That sounds
I think
right
it's
to
about.
me.
Yeah, whatever context. I don't care. Yeah, whatever makes them comfortable. Whatever makes them comfortable.
19, which I don't think is enough.
It's a lot.
I don't think it's enough. Personally,
What do you say?
It's around.
That sounds
I think
right
it's
to
about
me.
19 intelligence agents, right? Because you have a lot of unelected people. We have 19 intelligence agencies, I think. I think it's around.
That sounds
I think
right
it's
to me.
about 19.
19?
Which I don't think
It's a lot.
I don't think it's enough, personally.
I don't think it's enough. 19? 19. I don't even know what to say to that.
But there's 19 of them or something.
I think
like
we
that.
had 22 intelligence agencies. That's actually when we would really
and
have figured out this all.
That's who, because everybody's worried that you and Trump are going to fire some of those people. And that's what I think most Americans are worried about. I think most people are worried about the CIA and government employees. My parents are worried about the Central Intelligence Agency and if they're making enough money. This is what my grandmother worries about. What do you say to people that are worried about the NSA? The DIA, the Directorate of Intelligence? People forget about that one. It's a little room in the bigger one.
Look, I want to speak from the heart here to my fellow Americans who are really worried.
My fellow Americans.
That a CIA bureaucrat making $190,000 a year might have to find a job in the private sector. I recognize.
Okay, still doing the sarcasm thing. Okay, all right. I was thinking of maybe worried about what they're going to do, but okay.
A bureaucrat making $190,000 a year might have to find a job in the private sector. I recognize that is the biggest crisis facing my fellow Americans.
Yes.
Not that they can't afford groceries and housing. Right. So
a level of sarcasm in this conversation.
People can eat less.
Honestly,
oh my God, this would be such an amazing social experiment. This just a conversation like this, it's just every other sentence is the opposite of what they are actually saying. Get a liberal to watch this and see if they could pick out when they're joking and when they're not. I bet you they can.
So that Homeland Security can be a little bigger.
Yeah. So that Homeland Security.
I like knowing that my neighbors are getting spied on. I like it. I like people getting on lists.
Well, it's actually really a win-win, right?
Yeah.
Something I'll say in Kamala Harris's defense is, yes, she's made it harder for Americans to afford housing, but that's been in the service so that the CIA can more easily spy on our fellow Americans, right? So again, this is where
now, you're a big
sometimes there's trade-offs and
censorship.
sometimes there's.
Well, you see sarcasm, but just the most low level. Oh, you're so smart. That's the level of sarcasm that you get from Democrats. Yeah, exactly. But again, just seeing that side of a politician, knowing that, hey, somebody can kind of riff and be cool and just chill. that's not the reason that you would vote for somebody. But if there's two candidates that you like and one of them can chill and shoot the shit and the other one's kind of fucking weird and can't, then why wouldn't you be why wouldn't you lean towards the one that's more relatable?
You're a big critic of online censorship.
Yeah,
Don't you realize it's good for people? Don't you realize it's
to not be able to speak their mind?
You know, people don't even know what they want to say half the time. Why
True.
not have a service that use like an AI where you speak into it and it rearranges it so it gets what you mean?
I would be okay if we just censored Kamala Harris, right? I
Right,
think she would be okay with that too. I think she'd be better in the polls if she just didn't say anything. That was, of course, the
Yeah,
strategy
it
of
matter.
her
She's
campaign.
probably fun.
Okay.
She's fun.
You know who's fun?
Yeah.
You know
Oh, Montel Williams, I tell you, she's a great time.
it's fun. And I like this is a rare moment
Is
of
Walls?
bipartisanship. No.
Okay.
Hunter Biden.
Well, of course. I would, with all due
I'm telling
respect to you, I would vote for him over anyone in the race. Just because if we're going to end this thing, let's do it quick. Let's do it in 6 months.
Oh man, my cousin is like a hardcore Republican,
Yeah.
and she's like, you know what? I can't get behind you guys on is the anti-Hunter Biden stuff.
Yeah.
like that guy.
Right.
I guarantee he's fun. He's a fun guy to hang out with.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know about. I've met Kamala Harris once. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, if she's fine.
There's too much of a school marm thing going on. I
Yeah,
just don't know. I
perhaps.
don't think that would necessarily.
So how
be
do you-
Well, she's so fake that you don't even know what would you use that you've seen her do or say that would actually lead you to make a decision on is she cool to hang out with or not? Is she fun? Nothing. Everything that she shows you is fake.
Deal. You have all these. You have a bunch.
Okay,
Of, yeah.
Kamala Harris
Yeah.
is the person who, when you tell a really funny joke,
Yeah.
she like says, "Well, that was like kind of offensive."
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I say, then I look at her and I go, "But you're a genius," and then she likes me again. Yeah.
Hunter Biden, if you tell a really offensive joke, he laughs his ass off and says, "Let's do another
Let's
shot."
do it again. Let's light the house on fire. So how do you deal with this? You get into office. Now people are all mad about Project 2025. People don't like it because it's a Heritage Foundation wrote a whole thing.
Pimpin' Willie, dilly to Pimpin' Willie. Shout out to Pimpin' Willie.
That that you're going to dismantle the entire federal government and
Well,
sell
yeah,
it off for parts.
this is the craziest thing to me. So Project 2020, so Heritage is a nonprofit with no affiliation with the Trump campaign.
That's right.
They wrote a 900-page document. Okay. If you take any 900-page document that exists anywhere in the world, I'm going to find something that I hate about it and something that I like about it. Right. So they've tried to pick up every little thing that is unpopular and say, this is Trump's agenda. It has nothing to do with Trump.
Right.
But to your point, like, yeah, Donald Trump and I really do want to make the federal bureaucracy smaller.
Yeah.
We think there are way too many bureaucrats collecting a check. We think that's bad for Americans because they have to pay those people's salaries. But most importantly, it's bad for Americans. Sometimes they're doing things like spying on their fellow citizens, which is fundamentally bad. Okay, so here,
And again, things that liberals would be able to agree that are just overall bad. But they're so focused on winning the conversation, the rhetorical game, than actually fixing any of the problems in the country.
Here's a crazy story, and I just learned more about this the past couple of days. There was a Wall Street Journal story about how like the Chinese had hacked into the Verizon and AT&T networks. Okay, you probably
Oh, no. Shout out to Rowdy Ruff. Welcome to the party. So my favorite thing about the Heritage Foundation is that Obamacare was their idea. Was it really? That's just perfectly. That's just perfectly where American politics is right now. Just perfectly. They're the worst people ever. Well, how do you feel about Obamacare? Welcome to the party, brother. Welcome. Good to see you. Who's? Well, I haven't either, so I don't get the joke.
the Chinese had hacked into the Verizon and AT&T networks. Okay, you probably didn't see the story; it didn't make a whole lot of waves. My understanding is that part of the infrastructure that they hacked into was built on top of surveillance systems that were implemented in 2001, Patriot Act style stuff. So like, you know, we're worried about the civil libertarian element of that, and rightfully so. Like, I don't want American citizens to be spied on, but the more important in some ways is we're creating a backdoor in our own technology networks that our enemies are now using.
Right.
Like, that's crazy.
Right.
That's and again,
Kind of like the equipment that we left in Afghanistan.
no one is going to accept responsibility for it. No one's going to say, "Oh, we screwed up. Let's do something different."
Kind of like Afghanistan.
This is the biggest problem I have. Like, all policy disagreements aside, the refusal of people to take responsibility and say, "You know what? I screwed up.
Right.
Okay. That is the biggest thing that's messed up about American government politics. Like, look, I had a lot of friends. I mean, I was 18 years old. What the hell did I know? I supported the Iraq War when I was 18 years old.
Me too.
I feel bad about that.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel bad that as a high school senior in Middletown, Ohio, who then enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, like I did my part, I feel bad about it.
Yeah.
There were people in
Well, I
Washington.
stopped short of that. I supported it in backyards, yelling, watching a lot of Fox, but I stopped quite short
Look,
of.
man,
We supported it in spirit.
Yeah.
we all have to
We all
serve.
do our
we have
own
to serve
thing.
in
Yeah.
our own roles, right?
That's
We all
right.
have a part to play. But the guys who pushed it,
I was doing my part on Facebook, talking about the real important stuff, doing the work, as Matt Walsh would say.
they're still collecting $multi-$100,000 a year salaries.
They're on
from think tanks.
MSNBC.
They're on MSNBC. They still have influence, and they've never said we screwed up. Like, that is the thing that bothers me the most about Washington, D.C. is nobody accepting responsibility for failure. Because if you can't do that, you can't fix the problem.
Well, now it seems to be that we're shoehorning domestic issues into foreign policy, meaning that you can no longer sell a war by saying we're there to democratize a country.
Yep.
Or we are there to preemptively invade a country before they attack us. But we can say we are there so that drag queens in whatever in Russia can have more of a say.
Well, you asked why we were in
really? Okay. I mean, I was kind of making a joke, but yeah, I guess it really is that bad.
For 20 years. It's like, because the Afghanis really needed to learn about gender studies and the importance of the non-binary gender approach that we have in the United States of America. I mean, you think I'm kidding?
Yeah.
Your tax dollars, my tax dollars, were funding programs in a country where a lot of people didn't have running water.
Yeah.
We're funding programs to teach people that there were non-binary genders out there.
That I do agree with, because it is fun. And I do want to see someone with a Kalashnikov
I'm sure it was really
standing
fun.
in the rubble and then someone explaining that to them, to me, is fun. And that I support that.
I'm sure the Taliban had a lot of fun learning about 87 genders. That's probably true.
Why can't a 7-year-old consent to a life-altering medical surgery? Is it because you guys are fascist? I don't understand. Like, why wouldn't you?
Oh, said he could read 900 pages and find stuff he didn't like. Clearly, he's never read Lord of the Rings. Well, there you go. There you go. But, on page 365, second paragraph, come on. If you know, you know.
Allow an 8-year-old to fully transition.
Not only that, but they want us to use our tax dollars to try to force other countries to follow this ridiculous pathway.
Yes.
Which, by the way, like I know a little bit about your politics. I know you're like pretty libertarian. Like, this is actually something I agreed with the old guard left about. That we should be, whether it's in defense or whether it's in medical industry, we should be worried about when a profit-motivated entity tries to manipulate government policy.
Yes.
Right. And right now we have pharma companies making billions of dollars off of cross-sex hormones for children. Right. And nobody on the left is like, that's kind of weird that the very people who are getting rich off of this are also lobbying the American Medical Association and the U.S. government to force this on American citizens.
It's because they're so busy worried about fighting for their rights that they already have. They're so busy fighting against the oppression that doesn't exist. They're so busy with that they don't even see the real enemy, the enemy within. They have their own enemy within. The activists, the doctors, the people changing laws that force the doctors to do things they don't want to do, and not give these kids a fair chance. If you're a depressed teenage girl, we want to help you. Chopping you up ain't helping you.
I think it should have stopped. The show Glee was great. Everyone was singing and everyone was happy. No, it truly was. And like, people weren't. It wasn't.
See, this part, I'm not sure if he's being sarcastic, because Tim's gay, so he might be into that shit. I don't know. I've never seen Glee. I saw the Community episode that was modeled after Glee, but that's it.
So contentious. But then it got to a point where somebody like me, who's been a gay, out of the closet person for 15 years, I'm going, why in God's name would a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 12-year-old,
put one in the chat if you did not know that Tim was gay,
14-year-old, be taking puberty blocking hormones, be transitioning, leave kids alone, leave people alone. It's very simple. A lot of gay people feel that way. There are trans people that feel that way. Yeah. There are people all over the spectrum that feel that way. None of them are ever listened to.
Yes.
It is the most extreme, loudest voices in that movement that are listened to Well,
Yeah, well, what really radicalized me on this issue was I was actually talking to a friend who, like really disagrees with my views on transgender politics. And I mean, frankly, like kind of rejected our friendship because I came out against I came out in support of banning gender transition for minors during my Senate campaign. And like what really radicalized actually is during that conversation, she said something to me that I was like, wait a second, is this real? She said the hormonal therapy for minors is totally reversible, right?
Is it though? It's like you're pressing pause and you just play the next note in the song. Lies.
So the way they sell this is it just delays puberty. But then if you stop taking the drugs, everything resumes as normal. That is totally and profoundly false.
It can't be true. There's no way that's true.
When I heard it, I was like, that sounds totally effing crazy.
Like, yeah, even if you just break it down for 5 seconds. So you're saying that if you give these drugs to a 9-year-old or something, then when they're 15, you can stop taking the drugs and they'll go through puberty at 14? Or they'll start the process at 14?
What?
That don't make no sense. Something said 2024 when coming out only matters if you're against transing kids. Oof. Yep. We've reached it. We've reached critical insanity.
When I heard it, I was like, that sounds totally effing crazy.
Yeah.
It turns out
also,
it
let's
is
say
actually
it was
crazy.
True. Also, not a great policy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Even if it was true, probably not good.
Even if it was true, probably not good because you don't want 30-year-olds going through puberty, right?
Yeah.
But even if it was true, problem, but it's not true.
Yeah.
Like kids have permanent sexual dysfunction, permanent serious health problems when they take this stuff, which is totally predictable. Like again,
exactly. See, I said if you know, you know, and so we go there, and that's just kind of strange considering the times we're in. Page 365 is a conversation about society falling if a certain person gains power. I'm trying to tell you guys. I'm trying to tell you.
Again, one of the lifelong, the humanity long lessons we should take is that when we intervene in things in unexpected ways, whether it's a war or trying to interrupt the biological process, we very often screw up. Right? You need evidence before you really do something.
I
like
just don't know how
this.
we got in this country to why can't a 9-year-old girl have a beard? I don't know where from Glee everyone's saying it was gay enough, perhaps too gay, and then it
perhaps a little too gay, but it was fine anyway.
Went to a place
but
where
like happy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Happy, So okay. I've actually heard this, and I'm not a gay guy, but I've heard this from gay friends of mine.
Oh, you're not gay? What a loser! That's like, oh my god! I just watched 21 Jump Street again, and you remember the beginning of the movie where, not the very beginning of the movie, the beginning of the whole plot where they actually go to the school. Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum's like, oh, 1 strap, 2 strap, whatever, and he's trying to look, oh, you're doing homework. And then, the one guy's getting like, oh, you don't care about the environment. And it's just like, what? I did not expect this. Everything was flipped around.
I have actually heard this, and I'm not a gay guy, but I've heard this from gay friends of mine.
Damn it. You want to talk about virality? I'm talking about going viral?
Yeah, that would have made some headlines.
Shout out to the interview. Same, different, but no. Because when I have lyrics like that, it's because I'm gay.
But I talk to
gay friends
who feel very personally affronted about this.
Where you at on that one?
They feel like if they were, a gay kid and they were 14 years old, and maybe they're confused. Like, by the way, like a lot of teenagers, even a lot of non-gay teenagers, are confused because being a teenager is like inherently confusing.
That's right.
But they're worried about like, would somebody have had them transition?
Of course, yeah.
In some,
like, what did he just say? Did Eminem just say he was gay? Oh my god, this is the greatest moment in TV history.
In some ways, it's like the pharmaceutical answer to conversion therapy, right?
How's my Seth Rogen impression? I never do that, but I feel like that hit.
They're worried about like, would somebody have had them transition?
Of course, yeah.
In some ways, it's like the pharmaceutical answer to conversion therapy, right?
No,
you're not gay,
right.
You're a totally different gender.
No,
the other thing I don't get about this, man, like the inconsistency here is crazy. Wait,
there's something that you get about this? There's something that you understand about this?
They want to simultaneously tell me that
gender doesn't matter, but also by pronouns are the most important.
Gendered binary is screwed up, that male and female is way too simple, that there's
That's
all this
right.
crap in the
Mhm.
middle. But like when you have a person go on cross-sex hormones, they put on super petite dresses and high heels, and they
Right.
act like the most stereotypical version of a girl, a
Right.
male transitioning to female. It's like, okay, well, wait a second. Is the gender stereotypical binary bad? Or is it
Yeah.
actually good? Because every time somebody takes these hormones,
Right.
they start acting like, Dillon Mulvaney.
No, what happens, I think, when we've
Shout out to Dillon Mulvaney. Oh, Dillon Mulvaney. We got some good laughs off of you, buddy boy. Dilly. To the man, the myth, the legend.
allowed the debate to be defined by a very extreme portion who it's not about logic, it's about people throwing tantrums and people going, you have to agree with me, I'm going to compel you
Yes.
to agree with me.
Power
Absolutely.
of
Kids should
Christ
be left alone. My
compels you.
parents were boomers. I was ignored. I was left alone to do, whatever.
Yeah.
And, perhaps that's not great, but we shouldn't be telling.
You turned out okay.
I turned out fine, No, I'm not the vice president, you know what I mean? But, I have a Rolls Royce. So here's, but the thing is.
I think you're winning in that trade-off. I can't even drive it anymore, thanks to the Secret Service.
But it's gonna get blown up soon. It's gonna be. But I'll tell you this. I don't see why we're telling kids about critical race theory or gender theory. Why are we not educating people in math, in reading, in science? Why are we indoctrinating children? And I don't know too many people who are for that. If you meet people in the real world, none of them go.
That's correct.
5-year-old should learn about identity politics, and nobody's for that.
No, nobody is, and
Very few people are.
And this,
I think even the people who tangentially support it are not aware of exactly what they're supporting. I mean, I don't think that's a very even controversial thing to say. I think a lot of the people who would sign up for this stuff, who would vote for this stuff, don't know what they're voting for. You can watch, and I mean, of course, there are dumb people on any side of anything. There's dumb people on both sides of the aisle, yeah, all that stuff. But you can see the videos of how many people you can just see walking down the street and yes, Trump or Kamala, why? And how many other people who just have no idea on either side, who just have no idea. They're just going along because somebody else told them to. And it's scary. That's where we're at.
Politics,
Yes.
and nobody's for that.
no, nobody is, and
Very few people are.
and this one I actually feel very
Still
personally passionate about because this like affects my family, right?
Yeah.
And my wife and I talk about this all the time. So her parents, born and raised in South India, they moved to San Diego a couple years before she was born. So she's born and raised in San Diego, right? Okay, so she is Indian American, but she's like the most assimilated. Like she's an American, right? Fundamentally, she's an American. And we talk about.
I said, shit, me too. I'm not an immigrant, but I'm first gen. Indian Americans, except Kamala.
Like, okay, we were able to fall in love in part because we grew up in the 90s where everybody was like, yeah, okay, it's not perfect. Obviously, there's still racism out there, but like, judge people based on who they are, not on these like immutable characteristics on their skin color. Just judge people based on whether you have similar values, et cetera, right?
I've said it before and I will say it again. I've said it before and I will say it again. Maybe colorblind, the 90s colorblindness was not the end of the racial journey or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But that clearly was the peak. That may not have been the end, but that's as far as we got. Shout out to There you go. Bugmaster General said Dillon's next move will be either to come out against the transmissions or do away with himself. Is it wrong if we place bets on which one? No, it's not, and we will do so. Which do you think will happen first? For Dillon. Trans or can I write that? Self-deletion. What do you think? It's one or the other.
On their skin color, just judge people based on whether you have similar values, et cetera, right? And because of that, we fell in love. We had a family. Like my family's always been welcome to her, and vice versa. And my mom actually put this in a very interesting
radical ideas
way that, like, the more that she's noticed this in the last few years, that people are obsessed that we have mixed race children, right? And are they brown? Are they white?
And we got our boy liberal. Oh no, that's not funny. I think it's hilarious. Why is it fucked up? Why is it fucked up? Because he is part of one of the largest cohorts of or demographics, should I say, that are likely to do either of those things. So genuine question, but welcome to the
have
party.
mixed race children, right? And are they brown? Are they white? Are they Indian? Are they American?
Yeah.
And my mom's just like, well, there are babies, right? That's
Right.
that's who they are. There are babies. I think that if you really inflame like the racial consciousness of people,
Yeah.
if they fundamentally think of themselves not as human beings or as Americans, but as members of a racial group, that
Hey, we got the God Daddy in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Very, very, very good to see you. And I love that Vance has his own little Vivek. Slight differential from Guamtech, but I love it. Either way, I love it. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Everybody say what is up to the God Daddy of this channel. Welcome, 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 sir.
think of themselves not as human beings or as Americans, but as members of a racial group, that's just going to fundamentally lead to strife, right? Like you want to, in some ways, like you want to.
And actually, I was almost not going to save this, but oh, perfect. That's opening right where I want.
But you must.
But I figured I should anyway, and here it is coming in handy exactly as I wanted to. So we talk about. I go back and forth. I go back and forth on Generation Alpha, but as we see how badly their development has been, and we see the differential between how how millennial parents can be, meaning the good millennial parents will show that their kids that the school's not going to teach you everything, all that stuff, and the bad ones, if this is what Gen Alpha will be, a huge differential of just really smart kids and a bunch of fucking retards, I think the good ones can pull it back together. Let's see what this one has to say.
But you must admit how uncomfortable it will be to be characterized just by your skin color on the first day of school and be thought that you were wrong just because of your skin color. So I'll never forget the look one of my friends gave me from across the room as we were sitting there listening to this blatant bias being expressed in the so-called equity statement by the leader of our school.
Mood, do you think this is fucked
up? To be clear, I don't need you to tell me that I matter, but hearing the condolences given to other races and leaving just one race out,
which race do you think it was?
Inevitably, you'll start to feel like you've done something wrong. And in our principal's attempt to unify us, he instead created unwarranted boundaries and barriers between his students, pitting us against each other based on characteristics that we can't control. RHS administration
sounds like racism to me.
Confidently told me that RHS students and staff are happy with their equity statement. But from my experience in talking with other students, this is not the case. I know many kids who disagree with their teachers, but they're too scared to stand up because they're worried that their grades will be docked and their learning experience will be affected.
See, like that's racist. That's racist. It's hilarious how you guys just don't see it. It's crazy. Guamtech said, what's fucked up about Dillon is that people openly supported his mental illness but didn't support him. Worst part is I'm not even talking solely about the gender bullshit. Yep, you are right, sir. And you're talking about a child. He is a child. Yes, he's fragile. He's a child.
My honors government teacher, I'm not going to say his name, but he's mentioned that Democrats care more about all people while Republicans only care about themselves. And he's also inferred to us that socialism is better than democracy. He even had a statue. He had a statue of a socialist leader in his classroom. I've been told by a lot of kids that they just stay silent and adjust their schoolwork to reflect an acceptable opinion to secure a good grade. I've been approached.
Go ahead, Mood. Ask for a source. Ask for a source.
By multiple teachers who have told me in private that they just want to say that they agree with me and they support me standing up, but they can't say it in front of the class for fear of being disciplined by the administration in some way or losing their jobs. There is clearly only one way to think in this district, and that is that they are teaching their kids to shut up if they don't agree. Now, members of the board, I want you to take a good look at yourselves in the mirror tonight and ask, are you really standing up for the equality of all people, or are you just pushing a damaging political ideology on our students?
Based. So yeah, I think if where are we? I think if Gen Alpha is the exactly Cody. That is what I'm saying. That if we have there are parents like that where you see these kids that are not the stuck in this mind virus. And so I think we're really going to see that that disparity as they get older and as we start seeing them, more relevant in society.
That's just going to fundamentally lead to strife, right? Yeah. Like you want to, in some ways, like you want to.
So black kids deal with things. So a white kid is not allowed to feel anything. Got it. sounds like racism, but okay.
Emphasize the commonality that we have as fellow citizens. You don't want to say, okay, you're black, so this means this thing about you and that thing about you, and you're white, so this means something totally different.
Right.
And I just, that obviously to me, just common sense would lead to conflict. And again, I'm not saying it was perfect, but if you look at both black and white Americans, they say that race relations are worse now than they were 20 years ago. So we've ran this experiment of hyper identity politics focused racial consciousness, right? Of constantly emphasizing, if you're black, you're oppressed. If you're white, you're an oppressor. If you're black, you're colonized. If you're white, you're the colonizer. We've run this experiment now for 20 years. It's bullshit. It didn't work. It's made people hate each other. Let's get back to just trying to emphasize that we're all human beings. We're all Americans.
1,000%. Now let's talk about a topic slightly less controversial: Israel.
Israel,
because no one seems to have any issues with anything they do, which I like, because some countries people get angry at. Obviously, what happens on October 7th is a nightmare.
Sure.
Then you have a response.
What do you think, dude? The DEI, he said the DEI equity position of the school. Listening instead of just deciding that I have my opinion on this. We listen and then we make our opinion.
That, which is also a nightmare. You have a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. You have displacement of people. You have a looming, potentially larger war in the Middle East with Iran.
Shout out to can't talk logic. Thought rules said Trump supporters eat their boogars. I don't know what boogars are, but if I had a boogar, I might eat it right now. Welcome. We also got indie film. Welcome to the party, sir. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. The guy, Daddy Cody Brooks, said Vance is completely correct in this attitude. Unfortunately, it won't work. Society is ruined. Well, I'm a little bit more white-pilled than you are. I think we still have a chance. Hopefully. Buckmaster said, I quote, I went to a black neighborhood and fed homeless people once, end quote. Man, stop with that. Stop with that. No, nothing. Wah shit.
What? You're the vice president. How does the Trump administration handle what could be a massive, Mideast war,
right?
After everything, obviously, we just talked about like getting America back on track and figuring out how to allocate resources to people in this country. Yep. How do we handle that?
Well, I mean, a couple of principles, right? So obviously, Israel has the right to defend itself, but America's interest is sometimes going to be distinct. Like sometimes we're going to have overlapping interests and sometimes we're going to have distinct interests. And our interest, I think, very much is in not going to war with Iran, right?
This is the first time I've really cared about what anybody really has thought about Israel and Palestine who hasn't been a president, because I think he could be a little bit more isolationist in the good way when it comes to the Middle East. Whereas Trump is, he's like, oh yeah, Israel's our best friend, whatever they need.
Right. It would be huge distraction of resources. It would be massively expensive to our country. And it's interesting to me when the October 7th thing happened, and we have a couple of dear friends who live in Israel. Actually, one of my wife's very good friends she grew up with, married an Israeli guy. We're like worried about our friends. And in the reaction to it, what I noticed is that American pro-Israel people, or people who fashion themselves as pro-Israel, were actually much more militaristic than the Israelis who were living in Israel, right? The Israelis were like, okay, Hamas just attacked us. We're going to go really screw Hamas up. And of course, there's a humanitarian side of that. And we want to try to minimize civilian casualties. But you had Americans saying, oh, this is really,
only 5 votes on Dillon. Come on. It could go the other way, but we're 80% towards detransition.
This attack happened on Putin's birthday, right? So we need to go to war against Russia. And obviously the Iranians funded part of this. So we need to go to war with Iran. We just have to be smarter, right? We have to be smarter. Now, I don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon.
Shit. Me neither. Comtex said treating anyone differently due to race is something people should and do have a problem with, positive or negative. I'll take colorblindness over this DEI bull any day of the week. I said shit. Me too. Hell yeah. I don't understand where the argument is anymore. It's all a intellectual on paper argument. Like when you see actual people interacting, it's not better. It's not better. Like, well, I don't know what the other side of the argument is. Oh, there you go. You're physically racist because you're colorblind. Oh
with
man.
Iran. We just have to be smarter, right? We have to be smarter. Now, I don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon, and I think we should be like very strongly encouraging the Iranians and using all the influence that we have to encourage them to not have a nuclear weapon. I think nuclear proliferation is just a bad idea. Enough people have nukes, and the more people that have nukes, I think the greater the risk of nuclear war. But we just have to be
Agreed.
smart about it. And I actually think that like what this ultimately looks
What
like.
if they promise not to use it? Like if you just
Oh,
had
man.
a fake one.
That is crazy. What color is my watch?
Something
A
to
fake
look
one's fine.
at.
They can have a fake one. Just
Something
not,
to look
not a
at
real
and
one.
kind of
Not a real one. I
enjoy.
mean, here's the way I think about it. So this is again where smart diplomacy really matters. And something that Trump didn't get enough credit for is the Abraham Accords. Okay, what is the Abraham Accords? Fundamentally, it's Israel entering into a alliance, right? Even though they kind of hate each other, Israel entering into alliance with Gulf Arab states.
Right.
Now, why would they do that since they hate each other? Because they both have a shared enemy in Iran, right? And again, I'm not saying we stick ourselves into the Middle East and start a war here, but like,
Good. Cody Belk said Tim Dillon has never proved he's gay. I'm gay, and I support him for not making identity a bullshit thing to care about. He can't detransition. He is our hero. An old school gay. Yes. We are here talking in the poll. We're talking about Dillon Mulvaney, not. Maybe I should have put his last name there. Okay. Well, we'll and that one. Maybe that was not the best phrasing. I didn't put that Dillon and this Dillon and same thing. Anyway, but absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people who are gay or even trans who are not for this ideology. And it's a like JD Vance said, it's a very small group of people. They're just very, very loud about it. Hey, he got it right. And I was gonna say, he said I gotten pretty good at shades. If it was against a brown table, I wouldn't be able to tell. I was what a loser. You got it right though. So yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I'm gonna figure out something to I don't know, something fun to do with that. Sup Dum Dum said, yep, JD Vance right here, buddy. I swear I thought Chris D. Stefano was gay out of a closet. I mean, he's got a wife and kids, but you never know. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, no, we were talking about Dillon Mulvaney. And we were saying, well, Dillon Mulvaney detrans himself, or will he off himself? Which first? Mood said Republicans care more than trans people about. Okay.
we recognize, okay, Israelis, Gulf Arab states don't like Iran. So let the Israelis and the Gulf Arab
I literally said the same thing yesterday.
states
It's
provide the
hilarious.
counterbalance
They
to
all
Iran.
say the same
America
thing.
doesn't have to
You're like
constantly
carbon
police every
copies of
region
each
of the
other.
world. We should empower people to police their own regions of the world, right?
Yeah.
And one, we would save a lot of money. Two, we'd save a lot of focus. But unfortunately, I think Harris, she's got this weird thing where I actually think she kind of likes war. Maybe she feels like a tough guy about it.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is, but they've
That makes
actually
sense.
pursued, even though they say they want to minimize Palestinian civilian casualties, they pursued the pathway that maximizes those casualties. They say that they're pro-Israel. They pursued the pathway that has prolonged the war as long as possible, which is
Shout out to Chris AD. Good guy.
bad for Israel. And they seem to be sort of sleepwalking us into war with Iran. It's like the dumbest of all possible worlds.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. It's funny that you say that. You are absolutely right that we care more about trans people than trans people, because trans people are killing themselves where we're trying to save their lives. So spot on. Broken clock, right twice a day. Good catch from Guam.
Is there a way to avoid a conflict between China and Taiwan?
I hope so, man. I really do, because it would be catastrophic. It would be, my whole argument with Russia and Ukraine is, yeah, okay, Russia shouldn't have invaded Ukraine, but a lot of innocent people were getting killed.
Who, Chris? I have no idea.
Like, our interest is in peace. But part of that is motivated by my view that Ukraine is not nearly as important to us as other regions of the world, right? Just putting my cards on the table. Taiwan makes so much of the computer chips, right, which is such a driver of all economic growth, that if the Chinese took over Taiwan, it would be really bad for us. Like, that's what I think. My hope is that the Chinese recognize that it would be so costly to invade Taiwan that it's just not worth it, right? And I think our policy, Donald Trump's policy of, yes, we're competitors with China, but we're also going to engage in smart diplomacy from time to time, is the way to prevent China from invading Taiwan. What I really worry about
in America, okay? Black people are very different here. We don't like them. We don't talk to them. We don't do anything for black people because we hate them. Don't you get it, Balance says? Come on, get with it.
actually is, so we win in a couple of weeks, and I do think we're going to win. I really worry the next couple of months, do the Chinese try to do something? Because if there was ever a time when America was at its weakest, it's with Joe Biden sort of asleep at the wheel, Kamala Harris licking her wounds from an election loss. And if they really want it, maybe they try to make a play for it in the next couple of months. I hope.
I wonder if that has anything to do with why Trump has been talking about, when he talks about Ukraine and Russia, he says, as president-elect. I wonder if that's why. What JD Vance was just saying. That's a really good point. That if they see Biden's checked out and Kamala's just lost an election, what better time to do whatever the fuck you're thinking about doing than right then? And that's our best case scenario.
And if they really want it, maybe they try to make a play for it in the next couple of months. I hope they don't, but we can't really control what they do.
It is an interesting time right now because we are 2 weeks out, and this episode will come out Saturday from this Saturday, tomorrow. A momentous election. We had an assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life.
Cody said, I have to go. No! He says, but speaking to racism on black people, everyone should know the feds interviewed thousands of ex-slaves, and you can read the text on the Library of Congress website. Interesting. We will definitely have to do that.
A couple
of them.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Are you satisfied with the accountability on the first attempt?
No, I'm not. And look, my understanding is that, frankly, the Trump campaign had requested additional resources, and those resource requests were very often denied. And what the Biden folks
wait, what are they talking about?
Is
a couple of this Saturday, because
they do
2 weeks out, and this episode will come out Saturday from this Saturday, tomorrow. A momentous election. We had an assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. A couple of them.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Are you satisfied with the accountability on the first attempt?
No, I'm not.
No.
And look, my understanding is that, frankly, the Trump campaign had requested additional resources, and those resource requests were very often denied.
Yep.
And what the Biden folks, what the Harris folks have been saying is, well, some of those requests were granted. Yes, some of them were, but not all of them. Right. And so I think there was very serious oversight on that side of it. I mean, look, obviously somebody screwed up because the guy was 120 yards away. Are you a shooter?
Well,
no, okay.
Wait. It is absolutely not obvious at all that anyone screwed up. It seems way more obvious that everybody was successful, except for the fact that the man turned his head. Who messed up? Who messed up? Everybody did exactly what they were supposed to do. The man just turned his head.
Right. And so I think there was very serious oversight on that side of it. I mean, look, obviously somebody screwed up because
who screwed up? Who is it? Who are you even referring to? Amp said, well, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I mean, since we're not a socialist nation, what portion of welfare will count towards reparations? All of it!
The guy was 120 yards away. Are you a shooter?
No.
Did they make a mistake?
Okay, no. So I mean, I'm a because the guy was 120 yards away. Are you a shooter? Right, on that side of it. I mean, look, obviously somebody screwed up because
did they screw up, or did somebody let it happen? They have so many redundancies that to tell me that they just oopsie, I just don't believe you. That does not make any sense. The number of people that would have to fail at the exact same time over and over and over and over and over again. And the degree of screw up. Well, I was told that there's a shooter on the roof 150 yards away from the president currently speaking, but, I just didn't know. I thought it was okay. Nobody screwed up. Everybody did exactly what they were supposed to do. If somebody screwed up, then that bullet would have never hit him. It was pure chance that he turned his head at that moment. Shout out to Dillon Soup. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya, brother. Good to see ya.
I think there was very serious oversight on that side of it.
Hey, we got Dix inside her. Welcome. Said, good evening. I think it's entirely possible for that many people to make a mistake. Sure, it's possible. It's also possible that I have a goat living upstairs. It's also possible that Morty died since the stream started. Where is he? It's possible, right? Anything's possible. But is it reasonable to think that it happened? Occam's razor, baby. Of course it's possible.
I mean, look, obviously somebody screwed it up because the guy was 120 yards away. Are you a shooter?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I mean, I'm a, you know, I served in the Marines.
That's
I'm a pretty good shot
close.
with
I've gone to
AR-15.
fields. Though.
Yeah.
I've gone to like open fields and kind of walked around like a kind of like a fair. I've never climbed on a roof and shot someone, not the president.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I
like,
didn't fly drones.
I mean, like a sportsman, right?
Yeah, no,
yeah. I didn't ask. I was asking if you had a confirmed kill.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you are a sportsman or you are a person who goes to a range and shoots, 120 yards with an AR-15 is a pot shot. Right. I mean, I could literally hit a silver dollar from 125 yards with an AR-15. And okay, so somebody clearly screwed up, right? And obviously I've gotten to know the Secret Service over the last three months. The guys on my detail,
it's possible.
They'll universally super professional, good guys. But it's not the guys on the ground who are protecting the president. It's all the people who are, you know, canvassing the side around him. It's the leadership that refused to grant resources. And I actually think it's a huge scandal. Like, why isn't Congress, why isn't the Harris administration being more
What do you mean by that, Sam?
forthcoming about what happened? They seem to be in cover your ass mode when the American people just need to actually learn some details about how a guy got so close to the president of the United States.
Somebody let him.
I mean, listen, obviously there's a lot of people in the intelligence community that are incredible patriots. We're grateful for what they do and they've kept America safe.
But
However,
some of them aren't.
Some of them aren't. And
Bingo.
That's it. It's that simple. It's that simple.
My question is, when you have social media companies agree to censor a story about Hunter Biden's laptop, and
I didn't say, I just said it's possible.
Because it is supposedly Russian disinformation,
Just like it's possible that all those people
request
messed
is
up.
signed onto by top members of the intelligence community,
Top men.
Current
Top men.
and former, and they are spreading the narrative that it is a Russian hoax of a story. Is that election interference by members of the intelligence community? What does that say about the democratic process in this country? These are the people that are lecturing constantly about democracy and how important it is and what
Yeah. So Dixon said, I'm not sure myself. It is government after all. If they wanted it to go that well, it would have failed spectacularly. I mean, we say that and we think that, but this is when it comes down to just that one person. And the compartmentalization of how these organizations work, that everybody reports up the chain of command. And so if you're in charge of, if you've got 5 level 1 guys, level 1 is the top, right? You got 5 level 1 guys, and underneath them, they each have 3 level 2s. And underneath each level 2, they each have 3 level 3s. Well, each level 3 has no fucking clue what the number 1s think. So the number 2 doesn't even need to screw up everything. Just a number 2 just needs to tell one number 2 needs to tell one number 3, hey, number 1 told you to be over there. And now we've got the Pac-Man perimeter. So it's just, of course, I don't know. I'm not sure either. Nobody's sure. But it is not reasonable to assume that, yes, it must have been this failure and that 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 failure all simultaneously in consequence. It must have been. Because, well, you think they would actually try to kill a president? Yes. They've done it before. They will do it again. Shout out to Zippy DSM Lee in the building. Welcome to the party. Before you ask, no, there's no Rumble. We tried to watch Am I Racist, and they shut down the stream in like 20 minutes. So I was trying to get things up here quickly. So unfortunately, you will have to deal with YouTube. I apologize, but welcome to the party. Guanzek said, even assassins get scared when the government says that they want to help. Yep. And then, Michael W. We were talking about this DEI and stuff. He had like 10 I mean, I don't think it was 10. But yeah, it was definitely not even about them being women. Just small people. I am not qualified. as a man to be on Secret Service detail for Donald Trump. That has nothing to do with the giant size of my, no, it has nothing to do with my gender. It has to do with the fact that if somebody is shooting at him and I'm supposed to cover him, then this ain't gonna do it. This ain't gonna do it. You got to be tall enough. Balance said Trump would be history if he hadn't moved his head. Yep. Am said, you're telling me, you are telling me that they pulled off 9/11, sold people on war for a long time before mass people started waking up, or successfully enacted coups in several countries, but the Secret Service is idiots? Nope. Did I say idiots? I just said no. I said the exact opposite, actually, that it was very well organized. So maybe if you're going if you're agreeing with my position, I agree with you. I don't think that they're just like, oh, what? Oh, there you go. Oh. I don't think that is reasonable to think. Fuck you. Yeah, I don't think that's a reasonable thing to think. So said it would have been amazing if Trump mentioned Shane Gillis as Trump in what? Buckmaster said, no way. Well, I mean, we did What is a Woman? We did Fall of Minneapolis, and there was another one. There's 3 different ones that I covered for them, but I had a feeling that because since that one was bigger that they were gonna claim it. But what are you gonna do? We tried, and we will still watch it for free. We absolutely will. We just can't do it on YouTube. Shout out to M169. Welcome to the party. Exactly right. Said people confuse possible and probable. Not all that is possible is probable. Yeah, well, like I said, it is very possible that I have a goat up in my room right now. Is it probable? Of course not. Welcome to the party. And said your defensive has to be as good or better than your offensive. Yep. Not Russian outside. You can't remove that. Funny. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we are definitely gonna do that in Discord. No, I don't think it's anything you guys did. Because like I said, they gave me the like when you have this thing, they have, it'll say your stream's in excellent condition, and then it'll say, oops, it looks like you've got something from another thing. That's why I was like, we're getting it. Oh, we gotta pause it and try to do but they took it anyway. We also got Dietrich. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Funk, I'm building time for you to retype that. Welcome to the party. Well, that's fucked up. That's me. Are we getting it? Funk, we got it? No, all right. I tried.
These are the people that are lecturing constantly about democracy and how important it is and what a threat you are and President Trump to democracy. There's no accountability.
Are you telling me that I'm funded by Russia? Oh no!
Have they said sorry? I mean, has anyone,
they haven't said sorry. None of them have lost their security clearance, right? Despite participating in a massive hoax. And
yeah, except it wasn't your account. So you remember that text where you sent me the thing that you didn't do? Yeah, it wasn't you.
None of them have lost their security clearance, right? Despite participating in a massive hoax. And I firmly believe, and I've seen independent analysis that suggests this, that if the American people had known the full truth about the Hunter Biden laptop, because it implicated Joe Biden himself in potentially criminal, but at least corrupt wrongdoing, right? So I think it would have shifted the election. I think Donald Trump would be the president of the United States right now. And, when this is always why I get into it with the media, and they say, oh, there's no evidence that this thing and this thing happened. Well, there might not be any evidence that Dominion hacked the voting machines, but there's sure as hell evidence that our intelligence community conspired with big tech to literally control the flow of information in the days and weeks before an election. That's a way bigger threat to democracy than Donald Trump making a joke that you don't like.
I did. That's how we were able to watch the movie.
And yet we don't talk about that. And when we're on the subject of threats to democracy, the craziest thing that happened in the Trump administration.
Other way around, Morty compromised Putin. There you go. We are going to take over the world. He's been telling you guys. He's been telling you. Funkmaster has been warning you guys that the Overlord is here. I'm telling you, pay your tithe now. Pay your tithe now, and he will give you mercy. But he's got a mind of his own. I don't control him. I do not control him. It's just 99 cents is all it takes.
In my view, in terms of threat to democracy is, and there was a New York Times story about this.
If I never hear the phrase threat to democracy ever again, it'll be totally fine.
That the leading generals in our country were lying to Donald Trump about troop redeployments in Syria so that they could say that
Funk, is this DM something for the stream or no?
we were drawing troop levels down, but in reality, we weren't, right? They were staggering how they did the redeployments to hide from the commander-in-chief what they were actually doing with the military. Like the most fundamental principle, going back to George Washington.
Oh my
is
God!
civilian control of the military. The elected
Shout out to the Funkmaster. Just share this with me. I looked at it and I didn't exactly see what it was. The October surprise. College students slammed for using blackface to dress as Diddy for Halloween party. Blackface and baby oil. Oh my fucking God. That's hilarious. That is fucking hilarious. Do we have any black people here? Does that get the pass? Because I think that deserves a pass. I think that deserves a pass. All right, where were we?
We weren't, right? They were staggering how they did the redeployments to hide from the commander-in-chief what they...
Ukraine, Zelensky, watch out, watch out. Morty's coming. Yeah, I think that's a great costume. And it doesn't work. It only works as blackface. It only works as blackface. Like if you're just a black dude and you're like, okay, that's okay, whatever, cute, funny. But it only works if you are super white like that kid. That's hilarious. Yeah, fair game. There you go. The children.
How they did say that we were drawing troop levels down, but in reality, we weren't, right? They were staggering how they did the redeployments to hide from the commander-in-chief what they were actually doing with the military. Like the most fundamental principle, going back to George Washington, is civilian control of the military.
Well, talking about Gen Alpha, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to become, they are going to be the ones that are like, bro, I don't care about this shit. Since I've been 5 years old, you've been telling me white people bad, white people bad, white people bad. Well, and black people are amazing, and they're so, well, maybe I want to be black. Even if that is the mentality. It all comes full circle. Dietrich says, what you didn't see was the back of his head painted red because he's a Chiefs fan. Leave the kid alone. Leave the kid alone. Leave him alone.
The middle principle, going back to George Washington, is civilian control of the military. The elected president is the commander-in-chief. You had generals, in particular Mark Milley, the Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman, lying to Donald Trump. That's a threat to democracy, not when Donald Trump makes a joke at a rally.
Bingo. Who are these people working for if not the president of the United States?
The deep state.
They're working for the permanent bureaucracy. People call it the deep state. Like what the deep state is just when you have an organization that becomes self-perpetuating. These people have military contracts. They have corporate board seats. That all becomes part of who they're really serving. And again, people are good at lying to themselves. Like, do I think that Mark Milley woke up every day saying, "Oh, I'm serving the military-industrial complex, and I can't wait to get my Raytheon board seat"? No, he wasn't thinking that way. He was thinking that true democracy was the opposite of whatever Donald Trump wanted to happen. But in reality,
it's called TDS.
Mark Milley doesn't determine what democracy is. The American people determine that. And so when the American people make a decision, you have to respect that decision, even if you don't like the guy that they ultimately elected. But I really...
Yeah, you guys remember that? I wish I'd saved it, but that clip from some type of Senate meeting or something. But it was a governmental meeting. And there was one guy saying that, the experts are saying this, when my constituents want this. And someone who wasn't speaking was like, wait, whoa. You're going to listen to the people who voted for you over the expert? It's like, yep, that's what I'm here for.
Really, this is like the psychological trick that's been played on people like Dick Cheney and Kamala Harris. And I think they're all, they all participate in it, but they're all honestly kind of victims of it too, is that they've convinced themselves that the real threat to American democracy, it's not when like the Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman disobeys the elected president. It's when the elected president does something they don't like. I think that psychological trick is at the heart of a lot of our problems.
Is it going to be difficult to secure a border?
Hey, shout out to Zippy DSM Lee with the $4 on PayPal. Thank you, sir. Morty, come get a treat. Hop, 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 hey, hop, 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 hey, let's go. There we go. Oh, you got it, mama. There you go. Oh, the old man. There you go. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Very much appreciated. Shout out. There we go. Get that man some food. He is hungry. Very, very, very much appreciated. And of course, guys, every single donation comes with a treat for my overlord and your overlord and Putin's overlord, Morty. Thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated.
It's going to be difficult to secure a border and to deport people who are here illegally, some of whom may have committed crimes. Obviously, there's been instances of people who've been murdered by people that are here illegally.
Say her name, Laken Riley. I know. I got you out of your sleep. Come here.
How does that work? Are you able to do that? Is that
We gotta wake up for food.
possible? And what would that look like?
Yeah, so I'm asked this question all the time, and I joked with a reporter who said, well, you can't possibly deport 25 million people. That's too many people. And I said, it's kind of like, you have like a Big Mac, and you say, you can't possibly eat that whole thing. It's bigger than your mouth.
Right.
It's like,
the McDonald's, it runs in their blood.
well, the way you do it is you take one bite and then a second bite and then a third bite. And that's how I think about deportations here is you start with the most hardened criminals, about 425,000 violent illegal alien criminals. And we know where most of them are because they've committed crimes, right? So you do law enforcement, you go and get those people, you send them back to where they came from, and that's where you start.
Sounds like a good starting point to me. And so I'm telling you, we need the equivalent of a class action lawsuit for taxation without representation, and it needs to cover all citizens. Well, the majority since being, yeah. I love that. I have no idea. I have no idea what that actually would look like. We're talking about first steps and first bites. Where would you start with that? Because that would be amazing. That'd be amazing.
But then, yeah, you got to deport illegal aliens. If you're not willing to deport the people who came here illegally, especially those who came here over the last few years, then you're not going to have a border. And it's just basic law enforcement, right? I mean, people reveal themselves as illegal aliens all the time. They try to apply, like there's a lot of social security fraud that happens in our country where somebody, and I've had friends where their social security number was stolen.
No diddy.
That social security number was used to get like a driver's license or a work permit or something like that. And then when they go and say, I think I've had identity fraud committed against me, the Social Security Administration will tell them, we have to respect the privacy of the people who defrauded you and stole your social security number. Okay, well, when you defraud somebody and steal their social security number, deport those people, right? And then the final point is you got to make it harder for illegal aliens to work in the country in the first place, right? Because then a lot of people will just go back home if they can't. And I think it's really important. Like, I think one of the biggest and most pernicious effects of illegal immigration, of Kamala Harris's open border, is it means that millions and millions of people are willing to work under the table. But that means a lot of Americans aren't getting good jobs because you have illegal aliens who are willing to work for much lower wages.
Do you worry at all about Aspen, about Palm Beach, about Greenwich, Connecticut, or Southampton, where I have a home with all due respect?
That's very true. We do have representation, just very bad representation. All right, the major flex here with Thomas Massey and Rand Paul, but okay, all right, you got a point here, sir.
A little disgusting that you would try to make us pay American workers a wage to do things that other people wouldn't do. It's a little short-sighted.
Yeah. Wait, do you think? Wait. Do you think that his answer was to eat a Big Mac? I'm genuinely asking because I genuinely think you might think that. I think he thinks that. I did not know. It went, okay, all right, okay, dude.
Yeah, I mean, look, I want to say
the Chamber of
Steelman his argument. If you want any more of your chats pulled up, Steelman his the argument that he made about the sandwich. Go ahead.
Commerce is bringing these people in clearly because they're humanitarian. Yeah, that's in the Koch family. What changed in the Democratic Party? Bernie Sanders was asked about this. He said it is a Koch brothers fantasy to have an open border.
Yes.
It'll drive down wages for Bill Clinton said it's a
Exactly
country
right.
of laws.
Zibby said, get rid of standing, qualified immunity, and sovereignty for constitutional issues. Treat loss or delay of rights the same as if you killed them unjustly. Sue the lawmaker, judge, and enforcer for violation of rights. There you go. There you go. I like it. Funkmaster said, I eat Big Macs when I'm sad. You should eat them when you're happy. Rewire it in your brain. There you go. There you go. Okay, so what's laughable about that then? Okay, so you get that. So then what's laughable about doing it little by little? So you admit that you're just purposely being an asshole. Got it.
That's a little fun, but he said that.
Maybe it was.
It was maybe at one time. What changed in the Democratic Party and also a lot of elements of the Republican Party for many, many years? The libertarian pro-business wing of the Republican Party is staunchly pro-immigration. And they have united with kind of the far left of the Democratic Party, which has become a lot of the Democratic Party.
Shout out to Chase Oliver.
And this idea that any restrictions on immigration are racist. The idea of a border is racist.
Yep.
The idea of a process of which people can come into the country is insane. How did that happen?
I mean, look, this is so crazy to me where you have people in Aspen that are paying.
Oh, so you're just against deportation. Like, okay, you're allowed to do that. Why is that the worst answer when all of us who are voting for him agree with that position? You do realize you're not the only person who exists, right? This is what's called solipsism, the inability to see the world from any other perspective but your own.
Paying their nanny borderline poverty wages.
That's right.
Projection. Act like for a second if you were in this chair and I was typing this shit that you would fucking bring it up. Get
It's
the fuck
survivable
out of here.
for two reasons. One, because the nanny lives in a crowded apartment with like 6 other people, right? And two, because that nanny is receiving welfare benefits from American taxpayers.
Yeah.
So these people are having their lifestyles subsidized.
Fair enough.
They're paying their nanny's poverty wages, and their response to it is to say that you're racist if you think this arrangement is bad, right? The people who are paying the taxes, who are funding the welfare state so that you can have a poverty wage nanny or a poverty wage house cleaner, they're racist.
Right.
And not, they just want a safe country and they don't want people to come into our country who they have to pay welfare benefits. And most importantly, they don't want somebody taking away their jobs. I think it's the most disgusting thing, man. And look, my heart breaks for the poor people of Aspen and West Hollywood who can't, who
There's not that much money in West
who would have
Hollywood.
to pay.
Sorry, I did. That was not meant to be sarcastic. He said breaks my heart, and it just
Bel Air, Beverly Hills,
of
Montecito.
Bel Air and Malibu, who would have to pay their nannies a livable wage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously the most important people.
But these
for
are
us to
jobs
focus on.
Americans won't do. And by that, I mean retail, wholesale, gardening, childcare, working anywhere. These are jobs Americans, because that's what I was told.
That's the argument. Yeah.
Shout out to Kelly Osbourne. Oh, I wish if I was better at this, I would love to be able to just, while I'm talking, be able to pull up the clip that I want to show you guys, but I'm just not that good, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Or am I? I am that goddamn good. Let's fucking go.
Trump is a lightning rod, even when he's not there. Look what happened on The View today with guest co-host Kelly Osbourne.
There are a lot of Latinos here in this country
Put a one in the chat if you remember this.
that do agree that the immigration problem is a problem and it does need to be addressed and it does need to be fixed. But making those comments, those racist comments, do not help. And if you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump? Oh, that's in the sense that you know what I mean. Like, but I'm saying,
That's liberal mentality.
there's more jobs to be in LA. They always but they don't. Are not only. No, I didn't mean it like that. Come on.
That's exactly what
your toilet, Donald Trump. Out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump? Then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump? Then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump? Oh, that's in the sense that then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump? Oh, that's in the sense that you know what I mean. Like, but I'm saying there's more jobs to be in LA. They always but they don't. Are not only. No, I didn't mean it like that. Come on. No, I would never mean it like that.
You did though. You did though. You did that. Yikes.
Yeah. Sorry, bud. I don't. I love you, so I appreciate you. Where are we? Am said, not necessarily choice cannot be dictated by corporations under the guise of forced consumerism. I'm gonna assume that you guys are talking to each other. Clean my toilet, bitch! Exactly. Any villain said, when I said who will be cleaning my toilet, I didn't mean like who would be cleaning our toilets. Pretty much. Pretty much. Except nowadays, that would be accepted. Like, oh yeah, no, of course you didn't mean it like that. You just meant that like Donald Trump is bad, right? Yeah, of course.
Working anywhere. These are jobs Americans, because that's what I was told.
That's the argument. Yeah,
growing up,
and
that Americans will only do one job, and it is finance.
That's right. My favorite is construction, right?
Yes.
Americans won't build houses.
No.
And it's actually a totally reasonable argument if you think about it, because in the 1960s, when we had low levels of illegal immigration, there were no homes being built, right? Mass homelessness in the United States of America in 1964 until we created this housing oasis by bringing in millions of illegal aliens. The real truth, of course, is there are jobs Americans won't do at certain wages. And so the solution to that problem is to raise wages for working people, to get more of them into the labor force, and not to constantly import this serf class. It's also, man, this is very corrosive to like the idea of American democracy, right? Small D.
It's so funny how you think like you're a threatening presence. Man up, bro. What are you gonna do, bro? Like, you realize you're a laughing stock, right? You don't, and it is sexist. But like you don't have the gravitas to say man up and have it mean anything.
American democracy. Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, go back to the original founding fathers. They wanted there to be commonality across citizens, right? They wanted smart people who were paying attention to the issues. They wanted, whether you were a worker or a business owner or a farmer or a farm hand, they wanted some similarity across all American classes. If you have a permanent class of low-wage serfs, many of whom don't even speak English, that destroys the citizenship ethos that makes our democracy possible in the first place. These people don't care because they want the cheap labor. I care because I love my country.
A lot of people look at America more as a financial opportunity than a country.
And it's not. It can't be that, right? American citizenship cannot just be...
That's all you need, Funk.
A bunch of people who like work and make financial transactions with one another. You don't go and fight wars because like the guy down the street makes a lot of money trading derivatives on Wall Street, right?
We need the American identity.
You go and fight wars if you have a nation that you believe in, and importantly,
because we don't care.
If you have faith,
we don't care.
That your leaders are only going to see you to fight a war when they have to.
We don't care. We don't care. Put a one in the chat if you care what Mood thinks of you. And we've seen you have normal conversations, but you just always revert back to this fucking like me. Oh, and look how you the timing could not be better. Oh my god. Oh my god. Dilly dilly to Stephen Colbert Cheese for the comedic timing of the year. Oh, that's beautiful. That is fucking beautiful.
And this is not only
what's been broken.
Right. This is not only America, it's countries all over the world, all over Europe. Globalization, the benefits of it have been unevenly distributed, to say the least. You have a class.
All right, click in the building. Welcome to the party, the Mood Edibles. Oh man, remind me to tell you guys about the fucking bullshit that happened with my edibles in the after party. I appreciate it, Mood, but like show it then. Treat us like people that you love, and then maybe we will get that, because actions speak louder than words. All right. What? We're going off the rails here, guys. What
the benefits of it? America, it's countries all over the world, all over Europe. Globalization, the benefits of it have been unevenly distributed, to say the least. You have a class of people that are, many of them own assets, and they've seen the value of those assets increase. Many of them are invested in the market, and they're incredibly happy with the freedom to move capital around the world and make lots and lots of money. But the citizens of the countries that they live, their standards of living have been lowered and lowered and lowered. And this is not, it's not only America, it's this financial architecture that seems to be replacing people's culture.
All right. Let's get, I've got it on. Well, all right. I mean,
histories and idea of what a nation is.
Yeah, and the real economy too, right? We used to make stuff, and now we're trading derivatives and shipping.
I can only
dollars
protect you
overseas,
so
but
much.
also shipping assets overseas. We used to make that stuff in the United States. I mean, crazy statistic. What do you think the life premium for having a bachelor's degree is in this country? In other words, if you have a bachelor's degree, how much longer do you live than a person without a bachelor's degree?
This is a very odd question, because clearly it's not meant to be. It's a loaded question, and it's a leading question, but it's not meant to. This is, where do you think this is going?
What do you think? We used to make that stuff in the United States. I mean, crazy statistic. What do you think the life premium for having a bachelor's degree is in this country? In other words, if you have a bachelor's degree, how much longer do you live than a person without a bachelor's degree?
I have no idea where this is going. Hey, shout out to Moon. Thank you so much for the $5. He's all right. So here's what we're gonna do. He said, no other channel puts up with my shit. I'm here to change minds and get mine changed. Fair enough. Thank you, sir. And of course, where is he? Oh, there we go. Every donation comes with a treat for Morty. Hey, and we got Texas Bjorn Raw. Look at him. Oh, he's loving it. He's like, what's going on? I'm getting delivery, baby. I'm getting delivery. Look at all the goodies. Oh, my goodies. Yeah. Motherfucker, I still have more in my hand. Oh, my God. He lost one piece. And yeah, you ready? Okay, there we go. Thank you. Shout out to both of you. Very, very, very much appreciated. Texas said, I like this spot. Seemed pretty lighthearted. Where's more? He's right down there. He's taking a nap. He's sick of y'all's shit. Welcome to the party. Very, very, very good to see you guys. Very much appreciated. And Morty loves it. Thank you. Let's dive right back in. Yeah.
Country. In other words, if you have a bachelor's degree, how much longer do you live than a person without a bachelor's degree?
10 years?
7 years.
Wow.
7 years. You live 7 years longer for having gone to college in the United States of America. You put this well. The way that I would put it is globalization. It's been very good for rich people in rich countries, and it's been very good for poor people.
Is there actually something about chocolate bar that I need to pay attention to?
In poor countries.
Right.
It's been extraordinarily bad for poor people and middle class.
Tell you though.
People in rich countries,
Okay.
right? And in some ways, the whole Donald Trump movement is a rebellion against, okay, well, some people have benefited from this. Like some people benefited when my steel mill, the steel mill that employed my grandfather for 40 years, when it went from 10,000 jobs to 1,800 jobs, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't the people that I grew up around, and it wasn't our families, and it wasn't the moms and dads who got divorced because the dad usually, but sometimes the mom lost a stable middle class wage. I mean, again, Republicans are like, we're supposed to be the party of family and of family values. You know what's really bad for family values? When thousands of people at the drop of a hat lose a good middle class wage. Right? That's not good for family values. That destroys families. And again, we can do so much better, but we've got to get away from this failed consensus the last 40 years.
But isn't it good that BlackRock owns the homes? Because people, I feel like, don't want to own their own home. There's a lot that goes into it. Isn't it better for them to rent? Isn't it better for them to take Ubers and have small little jobs instead of one big one? I think I have friends that do DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber, Lyft, and they rent and they really like it because they can.
And Walmart Plus.
They can get high a lot. Isn't that a better country than having a family? And aren't people happier like that? Didn't you say you wanted people to have
Well, Chelsea Handler definitely is.
families, and then people said you were sick?
That's right. Yeah. No,
I mean,
No, he was weird. Oh, weird. You want a family? That's so weird. You're weird.
it seems sick to me. Have you ever had a dream or a podcast or a job delivering food? Isn't that better?
Clearly the most fulfilling life is to watch Netflix all day and get high all the time.
That's right.
To be clear.
I mean,
Here, I want to make sure that's clearly the most important.
Yeah.
But I think the second most fulfilling life is to have a family and participate in your community and to talk about ideas with your friends and to spend time. Like
I'm just saying. Having no responsibility to smoking weed on a day off, watching Netflix is a great way to spend your time. Better than your spending time with your family. I don't know, maybe not, probably not. But I'm just saying. Zippy said government makes it hard to own a house. Corporate buys them up, then buys up the homes and rents them at 3 times the cost of a home. That's business, baby. Contact said naming your biracial kid debate is weird. Oh, well, I gotcha. Why is that? That's weird. What do you think? He's half Indian or something?
Stupid.
Shots fired, baby. And so talking about us from a comment on Discord. Okay, do not care. Do not care. Well, have you guys heard that like the kids from like the kids today don't like do clubbing and they don't have parties like the parties that we all went to in high school and college. Like the kids don't do that anymore. What do they do? Like I was straight edge in high school, but I was going to shows, I was doing stuff, and other people were doing. I was just I was straight edge. But like, what do you do from ages 15 to 22 to 25 with other people? I guess they just go on Discord. Weird. And play video games.
Having meals. Like, yeah,
Yep.
okay. Obviously, it's best to have food delivered to you by yourself and to eat it alone.
Yeah.
But it's all
Yup. Ask me, have I ever DoorDashed high class seafood? Not Red Lobster, actual seafood. Yes, I have. Did I eat it in bed? You're goddamn right I did.
also really fun to share a meal with friends and family, right?
It can be, JD, but go to
Hey, shout out to Damris. Welcome to the party. So please tell me Morty is okay. I haven't seen him get a treat. He is doing just fine. He is hanging out on his bed here, and he did get a couple of treats before, but he is always very hungry. Welcome to the party. What is shroom chocolate? It's chocolate with shrooms in it. Like the psychedelic things. Moon said, let people live how they wanna. I'm good with my life, and their lives seem okay too. Again, see, I definitely want to let people live how they wanna, but they definitely don't seem good. They definitely don't. Yeah, they join the not a good way to live your life.
Isn't it BlackRock? Is there a way to calm that down where they're purchasing all and they're driving up the cost of real estate? You walk around New York City, there are buildings that are full of empty apartments because it's money laundering from people overseas that are stashing money. And it's
so Zippy's saying, they 17 plus nowadays. They are strangely more bizarro Puritan. The comments on protecting censorship and making media safe, horny. Yeah, all that stuff is we're going to see if that's the mainstream for that age group, then the rebels are going to be not that, the opposite of that. And so while for us, it was never, I don't have a way to articulate this properly yet. I'll come back to this, but I think this again is a good sign that Gen Alpha is going to be based as fuck. They're going to be woke as fuck, or I don't even know if it's going to be woke or whatever it is. They're going to be they're going to be on two ends of the spectrum, but because of the intelligence level, I think the ones that are intelligent are going to win.
Raising the cost of living for the entire city.
That's exactly right. And if like I'm actually not.
Everybody says that. Everyone. I don't. Maybe it's just because before I ever did shrooms, I was chomping on fucking Percocets and Xanax. That shit is nasty. But whenever I ate actual shrooms, oh yeah, I forgot I actually may or may not have actual shrooms in my freezer right now. But I always forget how it's like a weird texture, but it doesn't really have a taste. Everybody's like, oh, put it on peanut butter and jelly, put it on, just fucking eat it. Be a man. Be a man. Seems we need to bring back the barn burners and hunkers parties in America. What? Oh, well, I mean, you're talking about, kids just partying. Yeah, I think kids need a little bit of time to fucking go a little wild before they become adults. so that by the time they're adults, they're like, all right, I got it on my system, I'm good. It's almost like being sexually liberated and educated on sex had a positive effect on teen sexuality and pregnancy, except it didn't because the numbers have gone up. It's the fact that's the problem. You would expect that, but exactly. It's a lack of socializing, lack of confidence, insecure, and absent parents.
Bingo.
But yeah, just make everything fit to your narrative. Guantag said the high schoolers of today will never understand the value of a movie like Dazed and Confused. Yep. Zibby says the left has gone so far left, the rebels are normal and bland. Facts.
A Ron Paul guy. One of my dear friends is a big Ron Paul guy, but like I've kind of come around to the Ron Paul argument. I don't fully agree with it, but the criticism of the Federal Reserve that makes the most sense to me is that it gives massive corporations a lower cost of money than the average American, right? So part of the reason BlackRock has been able to buy all these homes is you ask, well, what is BlackRock borrowing at? Right? What rate are they borrowing at? Because the average American right now, I think the average mortgage interest rate is somewhere around 7% right now. Okay, BlackRock's borrowing at like 1.5, 2.5%, right? So if they're paying a much lower cost for debt than the average American, then they have a huge advantage. They buy up all the homes, they jack up all the costs. And again, going back to the Jeffersonian idea of Americans as owners and as citizens in their own country, well, what happens when BlackRock owns your home and they say you're not allowed to own a firearm because we own this home? You don't own this home. Okay, there goes the Second Amendment. What if they say, well, for all residents in our places, we don't want you to put up yard signs for certain political candidates? Well, there goes the First Amendment. Yeah. There's a connection. There's a very deep connection between the idea of American citizenship, the full idea, and the liberties that actually make.
I mean, specifically teen pregnancies, yes, are down. Teen pregnancies are down, but it's. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But you see the instances, like the people who are having sex are having way more promiscuous sex. You're seeing a lot more people with higher partners. The exact bifurcation that I'm talking about with intelligence in Gen Alpha is happening with sex and general socialization in Gen Z.
Make American society such a cool place to live, and if we turn everybody into renters, we're going to destroy that. I mean, I think that, like,
here's where you're wrong though. People really like these shows where people buy $20 million homes, like Selling Sunset. Most isn't that as good as owning a home, because there's 30 shows about people buying mansions and people get to watch them. So you don't have to cut grass. You can watch somebody else buy a house. But that is what's happening.
I mean, no, it is student education, unless people getting pregnant. That is true. I personally went to Washington, D.C. with the Reason Rally in 2012, 2016, 2012. Would have been 2012, 2016. I don't know. One of those years. I went to the Reason Rally in DC, and we all went to talk to our representatives about having proper sex ed in schools, which I still think is a very important thing. And Mode is right. The number of teen pregnancies is down, but the number of I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but the girls that are whores are more whores. The dudes that are fucking around more. That's what I mean.
Happening, by the way.
Yeah. You can live in a pod and eat your roasted crickets, but watch other people living the American dream.
People do that. There are people watching people buy houses for tens of millions of dollars who they themselves cannot afford their rent.
Yeah, it's almost like the shows have the purpose of distracting us from the fact that material living standards in this country have been stagnating for many years.
Yeah. And you address that by, perhaps, is it the federal fund?
It is both. It's both. It's not that there's a bunch of, it's just not that. Like, there's a lot of issues with sex and abortions, and the issue is not that too many teenagers are getting pregnant and they're getting the abortions. That's just not the issue. I agree with you that it's bad when teens get pregnant and having body counts over. Like, I get that, but the numbers of teen pregnancies have gone down. So Stephen Colbert asks, how did I come to support Bernie Sanders? Being, a default liberal and always kind of anti-authoritarian without really looking at the actual But like I said, I always had opinions on the issues. I just didn't pay attention to politics specifically. And so when I was told that Trump was the evil fascist and that of course Republicans are the bad ones and the Democrats are the good ones, then the renegade was Bernie. So that was just the non-establishment option that I saw and thought was not an establishment. Bugmaster. So they're probably doing the butt stuff. Maybe the kids are crazy. They're definitely doing that. But again, it's the ones that are doing it to the nth degree. And the degree going to being on OF and all that shit. Tina Vana said in sex ed, all I remember is a giant female condom.
What?
Where did you go to school? Steven says Sanders and AOC held a joint rally in Madison, Wisconsin tonight. Well, good for them. Moving on.
Rate is it?
Yeah, I mean, what I think is, and I've
You want me to look up where you went to school?
actually talked to a number of the president has a very dear friend by the name of Steve Witkoff, who's a very smart guy. He's one of the most successful real estate investors in the world. And Steve has all of these interesting ideas. And it's hysterical because Steve is, I assume, a multi.
Can't see me. Can you guys see me? Okay. All right. Okay. We're here. Okay. All right. I don't know what happened. Okay. We're good.
Interesting ideas. And it's hysterical because Steve is, I assume, a multi-billionaire. He's certainly very rich, but he has all these ideas for how to make it so that ordinary
It's almost like it was a joke.
Americans are paying the same amount for debt as the big guys, right? Because if you're paying 7% and
Called the dental dam.
the big guys are paying 2%, ordinary Americans are always going to get screwed. There are a lot of different ways you could do that. I mean, you could just basically statutorily not allow BlackRock to access the federal funds directly. You could do all these things to lower the cost of capital for normal Americans. There's like a lot of ways to address the problem, but it's a problem. And the fact that we're not talking about that, instead we're talking about, like Donald Trump is a threat to democracy because he said that if people riot after he wins, then we should not allow that, which is of all the criticisms of Donald Trump. The craziest one is, he said at a rally that if people riot after the election, law enforcement should prevent that from happening. And they're like, oh, that's a threat to democracy. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's common law, American law enforcement. But it's funny, man. People are more focused on that. The media is more focused.
If you need a dental dam, you ain't a real man. I'm not even, not my favorite thing to do, but I'll get down and dirty when I'm gonna get down and dirty. But you gotta do the do. If you're gonna do the do. You know what I mean?
Focused on that. Then on the fact that we have a set of economic policies that are turning like our generation. I mean, I assume you're about my age.
Are you talking about suffocating a woman with a garbage bag, Guamtech? Is that what you're talking about here?
Yeah.
Like our generation, especially younger, permanent paupers, permanent renters in the country that their parents and grandparents built. And I see these polls that say that young people, usually vote for Democrats, but maybe they're more pro-Trump this cycle than they were last cycle. My argument to them is, aren't you sick of politicians talking about fake bullshit instead of the fact that you can't afford a home?
Right.
Yeah. They're eating the dogs.
And that you won't be able to raise a family because you won't be able to afford their healthcare costs and their housing costs. Like, let's talk about real stuff. Say what you will about Donald Trump.
It's called a diaphragm. He wasn't joking. It is called a diaphragm. That's what it's called. I was fucking with you because I asked you, where did you go to school? And you said, look it up. That was the joke. I'm not the only one. Where it goes over your head.
Say what you will about me.
Right.
He talks about real things that affect real people.
Is the happy medium.
That's what happens when you walk away. You never want to miss 1 second of the Indian Jesus live party.
Them owning a home in the Ukraine. You know what I mean?
What are you saying?
Real people.
Is the happy medium them owning a home in the Ukraine? You know what I mean? Because you're making a lot of points that are going to be tough to do.
Well, look, I mean, look,
perhaps...
if Kamala Harris is president, here's the win-win. Again, she's always looking for that.
Right.
If they own a home in Ukraine, they can then be conscripted into her endless war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And so, if you're a young American and you'd like to own a very sweet mansion in Ukraine,
just like Ryan Routh,
while also fighting a war for a country that's 6,000 miles away, then Kamala Harris is your candidate.
That's what Ryan Ralph wanted, except he was a lot closer than that.
If you'd like to own a nice home in the United States of America and raise a family, I think Donald.
That's weird. Who would want to do that? That's so weird.
is your candidate. If you'd like to own a nice home in the United States of America and raise a family, I think Donald Trump.
That's weird. Why would you want to do that?
Sorry,
Candidate. If you'd like to own a nice home in the United States of America and raise a family, I think Donald Trump is more your flavor.
No, that's weird. Okay, I'm done.
But different shapes, different strokes for different folks, man. I don't want to judge anybody's preferences.
No, for sure.
I just want to give the honest
I have a lot of friends
assessment
that were very
of
into
voting
the
for Kamala
Ukraine.
Harris.
They're very excited about it. Many of them live in Beverly Hills, and they got the flags and everything, and they got into it. And it's fun. It's actually fun to have something to be into.
Well, I actually I saw a couple years ago, a buddy sent me a photo. They had the Black Lives Matter thing in the yard.
Sure.
They had the Trans Lives Matter sign in the yard, and then they had the Ukrainian flag hanging up on their porch. And he sent me this photo, and he said, "I've just seen it. The liberal Holy Trinity."
It used to
be the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Now it's those three causes.
You have it all. Well, we're not allowed to ask why the Ukraine war happened or what we did to potentially create conditions where
y'all
we're not allowed to ask that.
Did American diplomacy actually create conflict instead of diffusing conflict? In my view, it did.
And maybe that was the goal.
Actually, nobody tell her. Balanced. If you had to use your context clues, what would you guess that it was? Just throw out a guess. Just throw out a guess. What could it possibly be in the context of what we're talking about?
Oh no, I mean that. I don't want to sound like a nut. Well, but there are people that
it's this psychological post-war thing of everyone is either Adolf Hitler or Winston Churchill. Right. That's how these people think about it.
Do you think Vladimir Putin is on a march through Europe, that he's going to knock over Poland, that he's going to knock over?
Well, that's what Joe said.
It doesn't seem
of all the absurd arguments I've heard. That
doesn't seem likely.
He can't take half of Ukraine, which was his goal. He can't take half of Ukraine, but somehow he's going to march all the way to Berlin. And by the way, like, if he marches all the way to Berlin, what the hell does that say about Germany?
Right.
Maybe they should build their own security capacity to prevent it. I mean, maybe they should listen to Les Ramstein and actually build a military that's worthwhile. Though I will say, Ramstein has this crazy song from 2004.
Du hast mesh. There is no way this man is talking about a Rammstein song and not talking about Du hast mesh. There's no fucking way. I will bet my entire reputation on it.
Hey, Ramstein has this crazy song from 2004, I think. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I do.
We're all living in America.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. God damn it. Well, I forgot about that song. So I guess that's the end of the Indian Jesus, guys.
It is actually a really interesting criticism of globalization. So to the Ramstein fans out there, I apologize for criticizing.
And NATO, do you think that we redefine our relationship with NATO?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that what President Trump has said about NATO is, look, we're not going to pull out of NATO, but NATO needs to be a true alliance, a true partner, and not basically just another welfare client of the United States of America. I mean, okay, guess how many mechanized brigades, I won't force you to actually guess, how many mechanized brigades Germany could field right now. Germany is the fourth largest economy in the world. They could field between 0 and 1 mechanized brigades.
Right.
If that is your country's military, you're not a partner of the United States in any security sense. You're a welfare client of the United States. And
honey, sweetie baby. So that is precisely and exactly what it is. What you learned about is called the diaphragm. And so maybe the picture you saw when you were a child does not represent the pictures that are on Google right now. But if there's such a thing as a female condom that is not a diaphragm, I mean, please educate us. Okay, fine. Just because it's you. Is there... No, actually, let's go straight up GPT, and we'll ask if there is something that is different. Is there something that is like a diaphragm, or no, that is like a female condom that is not called a diaphragm? Oh, wow. There you go. There you go. There's an option called an internal condom. Wait, how the fuck old are you? How old are you, King? Because I feel like this is a young, a newer thing. When what is it called? FC2. When did the FC2 start being taught in schools as a proper method of
Gonna have lots of fun today as we travel all around and look for some good. Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? You walked right through my shot, mate. Do you know who I
Wait,
am?
did-
I would like Germany.
Excuse
Did you wait, Dietrich? Did you make this? Can question being, can I play this? Like, is this from South Park, or did you? Because it's from South Park, I can't make it, but it looked like maybe an AI thing. What are we doing here? Okay. 2009. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. By 2009, bruh. By 2009, bruh. I was way past sex education. So this is some baby shit. This is baby shit. He said we touched the thing. That's what she said. Oh man. Oh man. Anyway, so the problem with female condoms is that they're attached to the outside of the vagina with duct tape, which is why they lost popularity. And then second, so no, this is literally what King is talking about. Is that there is a newer one from 2009 that is actually an internal condom, nitrite, same kind of thing. Oh my god, bro. I will never get over this. I will never fucking get over this. I will never get it. There was one, I used to work at a restaurant, and there was this girl who, oh my god, the heavies, the best fucking titties I've ever fucking seen in real life. The best fucking titties I've ever seen in real life. I didn't know that they were that good before I saw them, but the best titties I've ever seen in real life. So we're hanging out, we're drinking at the, okay, thank you. Yeah, so I can, I'll start it, Dietrich, I'll start it over so you guys can hear it, but I can't play it. But anyway. So working with this girl, and we were kind of had a few drinks and whatever after work, and she's kind of doing whatever. I'm like, all right, are you good to drive? Like, I could drive you home. She's like, well, you should just take me to your house. I'm like, all right, bet, let's go. So we go to my house, and whatever, and we're ready to go. And I pull out a condom, and she's like, oh, I'm allergic to latex. Bitch, we were in the car. We were in the car. What did you think we were coming here for? God damn it! And no, I never hit it. I never hit it. Allergic to latex. And if she was somebody else, I'd be like, oh, you're just trying to tell me that you don't want to fuck me. But no, she's that ditzy dumb girl that'd be like, I didn't even think about that. Oh my God. And then of course I was like, well, what do we just like, she is, yeah, she is. And I did. But yeah, I tried, and she was like, no, man. I was like, all right.
The United States.
Right.
If that is your country's military.
Oh, wait. I want to play the rest of this. What are we doing here? So, day in the life of Mood.
We're gonna have lots of fun today as we travel all around and look for some good.
You guys can hear this, right?
Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? You walked right through my shot, mate. Do you know who I am?
Oh, excuse me. I was just.
Oh, goddamn smartass!
I bet you this still gets clean.
Get up, you little pussy!
I bet you that, you know what? I am not joking about that. I bet you they do still claim that. Go check the Disciple Chat if you are a member of the channel. If not, then join right now.
Partner of the United States in any security sense, you're a welfare client of the United States. And I would like Germany. I love Germany, by the way. I think it's a great country. I think great people.
I will never get over it. Usually at that size, usually at the size they were, they are sagging or they're fake.
Nope. Good beer. They should be doing more to look after their own security.
Well, ironically, they rely on cheap Russian gas and oil.
Yep.
And the United States military.
That's exactly
so it's
right.
asking NATO countries to fund more of their own defense is the direction that you want to go into.
Well, I think they have to fund more of their own defense.
And see, if you guys would fucking watch Love is Blind, then we could have an amazing discussion about Ramses and his discussion with Marissa. But you guys are not cool enough for that.
They have to take more ownership over their own security. And again, I don't want America to be the policeman of the world. We can't be the policeman of Europe, the policeman of the Middle East. I want more of these allies to behave like allies, to take more ownership over their own security, and to make their own decisions.
We love bad jokes.
If I was a European country, in some ways, I would feel kind of pathetic. Like, you know, they always called Tony Blair, the Prime Minister of the UK, Bush's poodle.
Right.
It was probably being too nice to Tony Blair to call him Bush's poodle.
Right.
Because these guys, they don't even have their own countries anymore. They just do whatever the United States tells them to do. I mean,
well, London has also just become a vertical money laundering scheme.
Well,
where
it's
everyone from all over the world and New York, and this is happening to all these great cities, is that people that live there are being driven out.
Exactly.
And you have billionaires and centimillionaires going in and buying up all this real estate, not contributing to the culture of the city at all.
Yeah.
And in London's case, they have Russian oligarchs throwing people out of windows.
Yes.
Which that is good, I think, is fine. You know, I think it's
why we would want to stop the bad jokes.
fine because no, they're not. It's not random, JD. It's not like
Are we talking first floor windows or like 10th floor windows? Okay, well,
it's people who are involved. They knew the risk. They knew the risk. But so to me, it's like I look at these great cities and I say, listen, obviously, you want people from all over the world to come and appreciate a city. At what point does the purchasing of real estate from foreign nationals become a major problem for not only the cost of living of Americans, but the culture of a city?
Huge.
Whatever happened in 2020, that.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it seems insane
Yeah.
that nobody, Ron DeSantis came out and proposed doing something about it, but very few politicians have come out and said anything about that issue.
It's very important. I mean, look, London is effectively the world's only socialist tax haven.
Right.
It's just crazy. It's a socialist country, socialist government at this point, but they let billionaires from all over shelter their assets in their country. It's a totally bizarre and screwed up way of thinking about your economy. This is sort of what globalization does, right? And this is what I really worry about. It's like,
wait, I thought that was King. That was 1993. That was King that was born in 93, right? Yeah, King was born in 93. Mood, how old are you? How old are you? But anyone, I could talk with never debate. I was wandering around poor Appalachia in the South because I needed to understand racism, so I went to the source. There you go. There you go. Hey, we got an agreement here. We got agreement.
Assets in their country. It's a totally bizarre and screwed up way of thinking about.
Yeah, so Mood's a couple of years younger than me.
About your economy. This is sort of what globalization does, right? Is this is what I really worry about. Is like London doesn't feel fully English to me anymore.
No.
Right? New York, of course, is the classic American city.
Yeah.
America doesn't quite feel like America anymore.
Over time, I think New York will start to feel less American.
Yeah.
Everything becomes flattened and becomes
I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck he meant by that.
the same.
Yeah.
And like real diversity actually is like I'd kind of like to go to a different place and have it be different.
You want Paris to be Paris.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not have it all just feel the same.
Right.
Right. That is, I think, a diversity that I can get
But
behind.
people see people see
diversity of thought, diversity of culture, diversity of ritual, diversity of tradition. Those are the types of diversity that we want.
Financial migration.
Yes.
As an opportunity to go into a country, not respect the laws, the culture, set up a profitable business, and then send that money back to another country. It doesn't seem like a sustainable model.
No, and you have no investment in that country. We want people who have investments in a place to care about. Well, like if the workers get really pissed, right, then maybe I'll have to pay higher taxes, right? So then we're going to focus on making the workers not pissed.
Yeah.
Or if people get
God damn. 90, holy shit. I know I'm only 89. And by only 31 days. Speaking of which, it's 1 month to my birthday. You motherfuckers better be here. And you better get me something wild. But holy shit. Even like I know you guys are a bunch of you guys are older, but like I just when I see it's that generational thing. Even though a lot of my friends were born in 1990, like those were like, okay, well the 90, if you're 90, you're the young one. But everybody that I know is 80s or earlier. And so even to say 93, that sounds young, even though I was only 3 and 4 years old. I turned 4 years old in November of 93, but that still seems very young, even though 31 doesn't seem young. Time is a fucking bitch. Time is a fucking bitch. Anyway, guys, we are coming up to the 2.5 hour mark. If you'd like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it.
If the workers get really pissed, right, then maybe I'll have to pay higher taxes, right?
Right.
So then we're going to focus on making the workers not pissed.
Yeah.
Or if people get really miserable, then they start doing crazy things. They start rioting. Let's make it harder for people to riot.
Right.
If you don't have that investment in the local community, then I think that's what this leads to. And to your point, yeah, I think we should basically ban foreign asset purchases of American land.
You grew up in an area of Virginia, or it might not have been Virginia.
Well, so yeah,
I'm
I
calling
grew
it's
up,
Appalachia.
born and raised in Ohio,
Right.
But my family's sort of all from the Appalachian part of Eastern Kentucky.
Texas, I feel like that's a problem. I still feel like I'm 14 in my head. And like my sister, you know, you guys, most of you guys know, my sister got married a couple months ago, and you know, I don't know what it was, but I mentioned something. Oh, there was a TikTok, of course, a TikTok. It was a TikTok about how being an uncle is way better than being a parent, and so I sent it to her. And I was like, well, I know that, you know, that doesn't, the argument doesn't necessarily appeal to you because you'd be the parent, but like, hook me up. Let me get a nephew or a niece. And thank you. Let her know what you said. But where was I going with that?
Stupid.
I don't know. I have no idea where I was going with that. All right, moving on.
Or it might not have been Virginia.
Well, so yeah,
I'm calling it's Appalachia.
Born and raised in Ohio,
right?
But my family's sort of all from the Appalachian part of Eastern Kentucky.
Okay, I think of that all as Virginia.
So is this so? Like Am says, there's a notable difference between 80s born and 90s born. 90s born got softer, and I generally agree with you. But where do I fall? 31 days. 31 days. I was alive for the 80s. I obviously can't. I don't count myself as an 80s kid. I am an 80s baby. But like, I don't know. Shout out to Funk Master General. Another 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. I'm not going to wake him up again. Let's just do it this way. And a treat for Morty. Thank you so very, very much. Very much appreciated. Oh, this way? No, this way. There we go. Thank you, sir. Out sponsoring your goddamn self. Oh, there we go. Thank you, sir. And again, guys, if you were just gifted a membership, make sure you join the Discord server. You now have full access to all of the channels, including the after party. As soon as we are done here, we're going over there for a discussion that'll last as long as it lasts. And again, the Discord server itself is free to join. There's a free chat channel that we are hanging out and talking all day. But there's other channels as well, like this video that Dietrich
Come on! Look, I apologize. Well, that was a lot of...
That is in the disciple chat. You have to be a disciple of the channel to be able to see it, including the after party. Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated. Let's go on, keep the party raging.
Part of Eastern Kentucky.
Okay. I think of that all as Virginia, but I know that that's not. I know that that's not the case.
That's a very LA way of thinking about things,
think of
right?
Ohio. I thought Ohio was like Grater's ice cream and heroin, but
like,
fun at like music festivals. I didn't think of it. I thought of it like, you know, more white rapper vibes.
In your mind, it's like California, New York, and then just everything
and
in
then
Middle Virginia. It's all
now Chicago and then Fence. But that's what it's becoming. We got to stop it from becoming that.
right.
Now, do I remember the 90s? How could I forget? Yep. All the good stuff. Yep.
What were the lessons that you learned? Because your book Hillbilly Elegy was a hit, was a bestseller. It's a movie as well.
I still haven't watched that. I don't know why. And I was looking for something to watch earlier today, and then I started what is it called? Outsider, I think. Some reality competition show. I gotta get more into the outdoorsy competition shows. I don't watch those enough for as much as I do like reality competition stuff. But anyway, again, I was saying that for a reason, and now I forgot. What the fuck is going on? My brain is not working very well.
That's what it's becoming. We got to stop it from becoming that.
Right.
Now, what were the lessons that you learned? Because your book Hillbilly Elegy was a hit, was a bestseller. It's a movie as well. What were your takeaways? Because I know people that loved the book
I have no idea what I was going to say.
and disagreed
Sure.
with some of your takeaways.
Of
And
course.
these people probably know better than you because they live in Santa Monica. But and they go, I don't think he's right about that.
The real Appalachians in Santa Monica. To be clear.
Well, by the way, it is. If I'll take you there, and it doesn't look
Actually,
that different.
at this
No, Gavin
point-
Newsom's turned it into that. What were your takeaways? Because you're not the fact that you were able to, go to Yale Law School,
Sure.
Mount a successful Senate campaign. You're sitting here running for vice president. You come out of an area where circumstances for a lot of people are dire.
Yeah.
And it's a deindustrialized area.
Sure.
There's drug problems. What are the takeaways in your book when you look at the things that plague that area and then how to restore it?
Sure. Well, it's I'd say separating categories, right? There's the personal takeaway and then there's like the policy takeaway, right? Because at some level, if you're just
All right, King, I'll make you a deal. And I think you're going to like it. I will watch from if you are my go-to person that anytime I have something to say, I'm going to go directly to you and you have to respond. If we do that, then I'll watch it.
just a person growing up in a community that's been deindustrialized, left behind, you kind of have to deal with the hand that you were dealt. And that's like what really the book was about, is like, what do you do now that this thing has already happened?
You say you
and
do?
for me, the biggest thing that I took away from my youth is, one, have a sense of gratitude. Even though we didn't have a whole lot, I try to be grateful for my
Oh, sounds like my message. Let's see what else we have in common.
parents for sacrificing.
Hey, shout out to King Nirvana with a $2 super chat. Thank you. So very, very much, sir. All right, let's get Morty on camera. Oh, there you go. There he is. Thank you. So very, very much. I should go full screen. Anyway, make sure we're good. Come on. No, this way. There we go. Nope. Oh. There we go. Thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated. The 10th super chat on a live stream. Very much appreciated, sir.
Sense of gratitude. Even though we didn't have a whole lot, I tried to be grateful for my grandparents for sacrificing for me, because that prevented me from being resentful and seeing myself as a victim. Right. When I graduated from high school, I was a pretty resentful kid. I definitely saw myself as, everybody else has more than I do. And that seeing yourself as a victim, I think, is like a really, really destructive thing for a person. But then there's like a policy takeaway from it, which is, why are we dealing so many shitty hands to people to begin with? Right. Like, my job as a vice president is different from my job as an 18-year-old kid who just wanted to live a good life, right? My job as vice president is to make sure that as many kids in our country as possible have a pretty good starting hand, as opposed to a really crappy one. And I think the only way to do that, if you look historically, if you look at just our own country, the only way to build a sustainable middle class is to have a viable manufacturing economy. Because think about this. If you're a lawyer, okay, you're litigating, you're doing corporate deals. Well, who are you litigating about and who are you doing corporate deals with if there isn't a foundation of the economy, right? If you're a banker and you're doing trading, or you're doing, sort of capital investment, what are you investing in if not the underlying foundation of the economy, right? The economy's foundation has to be the real stuff. It's ag, it's manufacturing, it's making things, it's doing things. And then all the other services are built up around the real economy. I think the conceit of American leaders, I should say, in 2024 is the idea that you can have everybody working in tech and finance and advertising. Well, you can't.
Talking about jobs Americans don't want, right? But speaking of which, shout out to Guam Tech. Please never apologize for giving me money, but thank you so very, very much for the Venmo. Very much appreciated. Let's get our boy his treat. Delivery, sir. Hey, there it is. Yummy. Get all the crumbs up in there. There you go. Thank you. So very, very much appreciate you guys. My goodness, y'all amazing. Thank you, sir. Oh,
working in tech and finance and advertising.
Finance or finance?
Well, Well, you can't. What are you what products are you advertising? What are you what technologies are you developing if the underlying real economy isn't strong? What are the bankers investing in if there isn't anything there? And I think that's actually where, while yes, things have gotten really bad under Kamala Harris's leadership, if we go down this pathway another 10 years and our share of manufacturing GDP goes from 18% to 10%, then the lawyers and the bankers are going to realize that they don't have good jobs either. And that's when they're actually going to realize that Donald Trump was right all along.
Right. 2 more questions.
Yeah.
I really appreciate doing this. How do you prevent tech censorship? We've talked about it. It's a huge problem. I mean, I know it's a tough thing to have an exact answer for, but what are some thoughts?
So very simply, and this is like not a traditional Republican answer, but the Google antitrust
Well, good, because I don't like traditional Republicans.
lawsuit that's moving through the courts right now was actually started under Donald Trump's administration.
Yeah.
I think you have to break these companies up. I think they're too big. They become monopolists. They become too powerful. And frankly, they became too powerful thanks to government privileges, right? These aren't like natural monopolies that just came up out of the free market.
Right.
They were handed special favors by the government. They used that power to become monopolists. And now they tell Americans what they can or can't say. I don't think there's actually a way to solve it. Like if Google is so big, it's extremely hard to be able to like ensure that Google doesn't engage in censorship. I just think these companies have to be separated.
It's interesting. I don't remember the context, but shout out to Third Railify, I believe is his name. Let me get that right. Third Railify, this guy here. I was talking to, of course it's going to cut it off right where I don't want it to. He said something about how he would love for Rumble to be a search engine. And, I was just asking him, like, you mean like Rumble specifically, or are you just saying like, if there was a company, like we need another search engine company, and if some company that exists that is going to do it, I would want Rumble, as opposed to somebody new who aligns with Rumble needs to be a search engine. But long story short, that is definitely a big thing about how Google has so much control, and it bleeds out into other things that it's not a non-factor when I think about things like getting a new phone. I like the fact that Samsung and Google are so easily what's the word? Not intertwined. The thing. No, DuckDuckGo went fucking woke. Not woke, but they they did the same shit that Google and Bing were doing. So it's all the same shit. Brave is supposedly better, but I don't know.
What? So break up the companies.
Yes.
So the last question is the toughest one. For the last 5 years.
The toughest question, guys.
I have done Christian missionary work in Africa with Governor Walz. And literally, we have not seen
I thought you were serious for the first couple seconds. Like, where the hell is this going?
I am serious. Me and Governor Walz have been in Africa, converting people, feeding them. And to the fact that we've never seen you there, and we've both been there, and he'll tell you as well. He seems like a fun guy. Was he fun at the debate? Was he fun? He seems fun. Making things
hardest question
up.
I mean, fun is one way to say it.
Yeah.
He honestly at the debate, I felt bad, man.
Yeah.
Because all right, so my wife, one of her great character attributes, but also one of her flaws is that she cannot be dishonest with me.
Sure.
Right. Like if I screwed something up, she won't be like, oh yeah, you did great. She'll say it. Right. So I come off the debate stage and her face
I'm gonna come.
Like she's so happy.
Yeah.
And then I look over at Glenn Walz, and Glenn Walz looked like she just showed up to a funeral.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, this went really well for me and this went really poorly for him.
Yeah.
I honestly think my honest assessment is that he's probably a pretty nice guy.
Right.
I don't know him well. He's probably a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, nice guy that rapes children.
Do I think that he should be vice president? No.
No, it's Minnesota.
And
Who cares?
But
it's a ton.
Oh, burning rubber. Oh, yeah. Civil discourse that turns into writing. Oh, I love it. That's Tim Walz' wife. Oh my God.
But aside from policy differences, I just don't think the guy has the depth to be president. Like I hate to sound like, President Trump always says this. You want your leaders to be smart. Right. You want them to actually care about the stuff that they're doing in government. Yeah. When I hear Tim Walz, but especially, oh Lord, when I hear
Kim Boone saying, "Oh, you're going to be smart, and then you're going to vote for Trump." Yeah.
Kamala Harris talk. I think to myself,
Called it. or no? Are you not aware of the burning rubber thing? Are you not aware of that? Okay, gotcha.
Has
Sorry.
no idea.
I thought you were gonna come out and be like, oh, if you want somebody smart, then why would you vote for Trump? That's what I was thinking you were coming. But no, yeah. See, it's been on record that what's her name, Gwen, whatever the fuck her name is, his wife was opening the windows to take in the smell of burning rubber during the Jacob Blake riots. Was Jacob Blake, right? Yeah. Whichever one was in Wisconsin.
What the hell she thinks, and that is scarier than me disagreeing with her on any policy issue.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm thrilled to hear that Tim Walz did missionary work in Africa.
Yes.
You guys are both great.
Yeah.
There's a joke. There's a joke there about that one you don't know either, about when he took his students to China and fucked them. Yeah, that too. What was he saying here?
Walz did missionary work in Africa.
Oh yeah, there is a joke about Tim Walz doing missionary. There's a joke there. I just didn't have it. It's not about the window. It's about the allure of your city that your husband is the governor of. You know what I mean? The state that your husband's the governor of. We're looking at a major city and being happy at the smell of it burning down. That's the point.
Yes.
You guys are both great humanitarians. I think did you serve with them in Iraq?
Well,
too?
actually in the Ukraine, which
Okay,
you didn't do
you
either.
guys-
Actually, as soon as that happened, we went over and fought valiantly for a year.
and
in
then you went and marched in Tiananmen Square.
Together, yeah,
you know
we've done a lot.
that's
Yeah.
the thing about Tim Walz. He's the Forrest Gump of politics, right?
He's-
Every time
yeah,
something
he's
big has
doing
happened
something.
in world history, Tim
Yeah.
Walz has been there
Yeah.
to observe it and just
Yeah.
to see it up close.
The Forrest Gump of politics. That's a good joke. That's a good joke.
And by the way,
Personal.
whatever, and your attacks on your baseless attacks on Kamala Harris, if she doesn't know something, I feel good as an American knowing that Dick Cheney will tell her. JD Vance, thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Thank
Good
you
to
for
see
doing
you.
this. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome back to Alrighty, guys. That is JD Vance, the next Vice President of the United States of America. Let's see. Our final poll here is Tim Walz gay? 86% of you said you're goddamn right. Add me to the yeses. That man is a gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You offended? Why are you offended by being gay? Like, you just seem like you're gay. That's like when the coming of the night. Oh, that was good. That was good. Anybody. Should I? Nah. We'll do that another time. But yeah. So I mean, obviously, it is a bummer that we were not able to watch Am I Racist? We will. I will make sure we have some. Whether it works in Discord or if we have to go through StreamYard and just do that, whatever, we will watch that movie. Big shout out to AIM for getting the access, even if we weren't able to watch it here. But big appreciation to all of you guys. Thank you so very, very much. I do, of course, appreciate you. Let's give a big shout out to all of the donations with Guam Tech, King Nirvana, our boy Zippy, DSM Lee with the PayPal, Funkmaster coming in with the 5 gifted memberships. We had Texas Bjorn Raw with the $10. Our boy Mood putting up the $5. There we go. There we go. And of course, yet again, the sponsor of the stream, Funk Buster General. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. And shout out to indie film. We love indie film. Without indie film, things would, no, I'm just gonna say things would be exactly the same. Jokes. I joke because I love you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so very, very much for hanging out. I really, really do appreciate it. Whether you are able to contribute monetarily or not, obviously that does very much help. But just being here, being part of the conversation, liking the videos, sharing the videos, guys, sharing helps so much, and of course, subscribing, guys. I am turning 35 in 1 month, the 28th. It's the 28th now. The next 28th, I will be 35 years old. The best gift that I could have would be to see that 5.0, 5K subs. Can we get to 5K in 1 month? 1 month. That's 500 subs in 1 month. I think we could do it. I think we would do it. We are just coming off of a really slow month. If you look at the community tab, you know, I share, you know, when we have big milestones, but I also, you know, want to share when things aren't that great. And you know, if I hope that if you've been watching this past month that you haven't been like, something's off with Watch. I would hope that you didn't see that, because that's my responsibility to worry about that on the back end. But I do want to share these things with you. And since I have been essentially since I've been monetized, I have never there's only been 1 month where I saw like a plateauing, and 1 month where we saw things move negatively. So we are not as bad as that point where things are moving negatively, but in the last 28 days, I've only gotten 16 new subscribers. There's 487 views on this one video. And in the last 28 days, oh, look at that. We got 7 Jesus Christ. Last time I checked, it was 16. Seven subscribers in the last 28 days. So, you know, I mean, I'm not here to cry about things. I'm here to, you know, just share with you what's going on, what we are doing, and that is where we're at. And, you know, that algorithm is going to do its thing. Oh, my goodness. Hey, yo, hey, at the buzzer. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's just do this. We got a little bit of this and a little bit of this. There we go. Hey, thank you so very, very much. Very much appreciated, guys. Stuff like that, it helps so much. It really, really does. Every little thing YouTube is looking at, like, okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? And everything you guys do. Chatting, the donations, the sharing the video, the liking the video, all of that stuff, it helps out so much. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Like, there's gonna be months where things aren't as good as other months, and that's okay. I'm here for the ride. It's not always gonna be great, but definitely thanks to the memberships and the donations, the money is the one thing that is not doing too bad. It's not doing too bad at all. And so I want to thank you guys so much that even though the channel is not doing so well, you guys have kept me afloat, and it's so amazing. But like we've always said, it's never been about the money. It's not about the money when I get money, and it's not about the money when I'm not doing well. If we're not reaching new people, then we're not doing what we came here to do. It doesn't matter if I make $1 million. That's not what we're here for. So. It's not, I mean, it's more of just updating you guys with what's going on than anything else. But, you know, if you're sad about members, that is the one thing that I am not sad about. The one thing that you guys have kept this afloat. The members, shout out to all of the members, whether you were gifted a membership or not. A big shout out to Funkmaster General and Texas Bjorn Wrong and everybody else who gives memberships. They really, really do help. Yeah, that's okay. You know, not every month is going to be gangbusters. Not every stream is going to be wildly popular, but that's okay. I know that as long as I have you guys here, that we'll get through it. We'll keep moving, and we'll find better months ahead. Better months ahead, and it ain't even that bad as it is. Every day I get to come and hang out with you guys. So it's definitely not bad. It just could be a lot better, you know what I mean? Thank you guys so very, very much. I almost want to wait and just sit around until we get 500 views because we're at 495. So I guess we are moving in the right direction. But yeah, we are still. I'm still deciding on that. That I'm not gonna, guys. I don't even know the thing that I'm covering until the day of. So like I said, I think that we might do something more in Discord. Where like I don't have to like be on, where like we can all hang out and then we can check out like, oh, this stream and Timcast is doing this and Crowder's doing that and David Pacman is doing that, whatever the fuck we want. But we will see. But all right, it's time for the after party. I see a bunch of people in there already. Thank you once again, guys. That is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace. It's gonna be the old thumbnail.